these people that go on to have careers, like out of Kill Tony, and they legitimately have careers.
It's a credit. People use it as a credit.
Who's the biggest Kill Tony, like, picked out of the hat? Who's the biggest one?
Well, let me see. Preacher Lawson. Preacher
Whoa.
Lawson. Yep, he started Kill Tony.
Wow.
He's killing
He's
it.
Yeah. Damn, really?
Yeah. Ali Makovsky's doing really well on the road now.
Yeah.
Hans Kim is a fucking killer. I bring that guy with me everywhere. He's so funny. He's so good. That guy is fucking killing it. William Montgomery's killing it. There's a lot of good people. David Lucas is killing it. Him and Tony together. I was the guest last week. I was fucking in tears, like crying in tears at those two going
David
after
Lucas?
each other. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lucas and him. Those two together are like the best 1-2 combination in comedy.
He opened for me at the Creek when I was here, and he just vapes on stage. He's so fucking chill. He's just talking, and he's like, oh, what up? It's like, what are you doing?
No,
He's such a so chill.
Testing.
But yeah, doing Kill Tony after this was, fuck, that hurt.
That was tough.
That was bad. That was pretty sad.
Well, you're doing it tonight.
Yeah, but we're not drinking 30 beers today.
You have a fucking
a
one
little bit of
beer
whiskey.
and a whiskey and a Nate Diaz shirt.
fine.
The odds of you not going hard today.
I'm gonna get fucked up.
It just happens.
It just happens. It just
fun.
happens.
On the way over, I was like, I'm gonna take it easy. As soon as we walked in this room, I was like, fuck.
Yeah,
I'm definitely getting fucked up.
that evil
So
in
many
you.
instruments of death
Jamie's
here.
like, oh, I got a
Yeah,
beer bong. I was
we
like,
literally
dude,
have a tomahawk on the fucking table.
Yeah.
this isn't good.
Is that for...
That's a Jack Carr tomahawk
Is that for,
from the Terminalist, the television show that he uses. Chris Pratt uses to fucking split a guy's head open.
Dude, Chris Pratt's the fucking man.
He's the fucking man.
He's
Really?
the
I
fucking
love
man,
that guy.
dude.
He's
Yeah,
religious.
Great dude in real life. Like,
I bet.
great dude. I ran into him accidentally once in Hawaii. He was on vacation. He was on his honeymoon with his wife. And I was there with my family, and he just strolls up like a fucking normal person. He's like a normal guy.
How long ago? Was it still chubby Chris
A
Pratt?
couple of years ago?
Remember when he was a nerd?
He
Chubby,
wasn't chubby.
chubby
I'm
Chris
going the
Pratt
other
was
way.
the man.
He was already Guardians of the Galaxy Chris Pratt, so he's already kind of
Dude, we were talking about crying during movies. I cried during Guardians of the Galaxy on an airplane.
What?
2 weeks ago, I cried, dude.
Why?
I don't know. I love that
One
shit,
or
dude.
two? Number 1 or 2?
Unfortunately, 2. Dude, he started playing fucking Fleetwood Mac, and it was showing how much he loved his friends.
Yeah.
And I was on an airplane by myself, just like,
It's Groot.
You know what they say?
It's the
Elevation.
airplane.
It
it's
makes
the elevation,
you more
dude. I cry
emotional.
on planes every
Well,
time.
you're also vulnerable. That's why I like
Yeah.
to get high on planes. Like when we would take edibles, Ari, and get on, we would get blitzkrieg. Like we were in a neighboring dimension.
I
And
could
we
never
would be
do
on
that.
plane. We
So
do it
high.
all the time.
Dude, I was so
That's
high
fucking
once that I
insane.
thought I had low blood pressure. I thought taking off would kick the blood into my feet, and since I would keep kicking off, I would just die. And I was looking over, I'm like, I think I want to get off this plane, but I can't tell Rogan because he'll give me shit for it. And I was like, well, I'm done.
I gave Segura once an edible, and he got on a plane with me, and he goes, I almost didn't make it when we landed. He goes, I was almost freaking out. I almost asked him to land the plane. I almost asked him to land the plane.
It's the worst place to do an edible. You're trapped.
You're trapped.
Perfect place to do an edible because
You
you're
did it
trapped.
once, never again.
But that's the reason why
yeah.
you do it on a plane. You gotta let go. That's the whole idea.
And also, if you get the spins, you just stay in your chair and just like,
You just
fine.
deal with it. Just don't be a pussy. You're gonna
Yeah,
live.
it's a nightmare.
You're gonna
That's
live.
your
it
new
does
t-shirt.
suck.
Just don't be a
Don't
pussy.
be a pussy. Have
You're
an
gonna
edible.
live.
I wonder
Everybody
if anybody
lives.
on Flight 93 was on an edible. Somebody must have been on an edible on that flight.
One guy at least.
One
yeah,
guy, like
you're
just
right.
going into the building, like, whoa, this is pretty cool.
They shot that fucking plane out of the sky.
Yes,
The DC
almost
one?
no doubt.
Yeah, almost no doubt
Almost
they shot
no
it out
doubt.
of the sky. The
Wait, what do you
wreckage
mean?
was scattered for
In
miles.
Somerset.
They should have.
Huh?
Yeah, they're
should've.
supposed to.
You say
they
it's
just
a
didn't want
hoax?
to say it.
It was a hijacked plane. It was headed towards...
I'm
might
saying
have
that
propaganda.
we let's roll all that probably didn't happen.
That was to give America a victory. Like, we fought back against them. We got our, you know...
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
yeah,
what,
they
what the hell are
crashed
you
it
guys
into the
talking about?
ground
Yeah.
to save the White House.
Yeah.
The fuck out of it.
They grounded all planes. One plane suddenly wasn't talking, and it was headed off its course towards the White House. And they were like, hello,
Terrible.
are you
They
there?
found the wreckage.
Get it.
The
What?
wreckage
Terrible.
is spread out over miles. Now, in a plane crash, the wreckage does not spread for miles. But when you blow something up in the air, I would imagine that it would spread out for miles.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, when you hit the ground, how is the wreckage spread for miles? That doesn't even make sense.
I think there was something. I think it was Cheney. Cheney was like, do it.
I'm
I believe.
sure.
I
That's
believe.
the protocol.
I don't know why I'm thinking this.
Listen, I'm sure if
Yeah.
like those people are dead
Bush was
anyway.
out doing coke, and they were like, Cheney's like, I got it, dude. Just go read the kids.
Let's say there's 200 people on a plane, and those 200 people are 100% hijacked. There's terrorists on the plane, and they're going to crash into the White House. Now, instead of 200 people dead, you have 2,000 people.
Yeah.
You don't think they're going to blow that thing out of the sky?
Had to.
They
I
have
haven't
to.
heard of it. This is the first time I'm hearing it.
It's the protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
not
know,
even.
even back then, it was like, this seems fishy.
I talked to military guys about it, and they were like, "Yeah."
How did the
Is
guy
that
get
your
service
fucking
on the
phone?
plane?
That
It's a dumb
stupid-
watch every
stupid
time.
watch.
Timex. It's
You have
broken.
a Rolex.
He just
that
take
I do
Louis
have a
CK
Rolex.
gave you.
Yeah.
And you don't even wear it. You
Well,
wear
I can't wear that. I'll get mugged.
Fuck, Louis
You
gave
get
you a
mugged?
Rolex?
In New York? Oh, yeah.
Walking by
Yeah,
the
but
homeless
they'll
guys,
throw
throwing
me
Don't
me
wear it
around.
in New York. Just don't wear it in New York. You wear it here.
I don't know. I just lost my sunglasses on the plane.
You
If
don't
I
even
wear
know how
the-
to shut that off.
I
That's
don't know
what's-
what the hell to do. It's not even at the right time.
Why do you have it on there?
I like a watch.
It doesn't tell the time for real.
Well, it says it's
Tells the time
Thursday at
somewhere.
4. So, yeah, it's right.
So
in
it'll be
Hawaii.
right at Thursday on 4.
Yeah, but
Thursday for somewhere.
It's right in Hawaii.
Yo, what's up, man?
can't beat it.
Yeah, well, they probably do calculations on it too, right? Is that one of those?
What's
No,
up, Norman?
wish.
I don't know.
No features. It
I don't
lights
know what
up.
Let's
Remember
Roll
the
is, my
calculator
man.
watches?
Sorry,
Yeah,
dude.
You would
Casios.
shit. You had calculators on your watch.
Oh, I hate this
That's
2.x.
What are you doing? You gonna cheat your
I don't
stupid
know. I
watch?
don't remember this.
Oh, yeah. You didn't go to college.
What's up, dude?
I went
No,
to
he's
5
young.
colleges. I went to 3.
No, just military. I don't know what Let's Roll is
If I got
on.
a student loan debt, I'll be making money.
At a certain, there was a
terrible
time
at this
where
level.
That was the shit. To have a calculator on your watch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I never
Really?
had one, but yeah, it was the thing.
It was cool.
Yeah, yeah,
All I remember
And then they
is-
did throwbacks to it.
yeah,
Like decades later, they're like, hey, get those going.
yeah.
I would
Yeah.
wear one of those now.
You wear a calculator watch?
Yo,
I
what's
hope
up,
they shut
Anomaly?
down Flight 93.
Hey,
Well, you're probably.
Otherwise, we're just trashing the Let's Roll, dude. This guy who died like a hero.
he's like, he's up in heaven, like,
the odds.
Yeah, he's like, God damn it.
Does it not look like I'm going super slow here?
In every situation.
Or is it just
are
me?
slim enough.
how did he get?
No,
this
that's
crush
normal
up there?
speed.
Like, who reported that he said let's roll?
No,
Well, they
they
had the
did.
phone.
They did
Amazing.
the credit card swipe phones.
They did.
on the backs of seats.
So he called home, said, I'm gonna
No,
go do something.
I forget the exact story. I listened to the black box of it, or read the
Really?
black box. Read the black box.
That's just from the
transcript.
pilot.
I've read it.
That's
yeah,
just
but
in the cockpit.
this dude's up there. I think I might have talked about this last time.
Oh,
Got into reading
Don't
black
be scared.
boxes.
Don't be
Last
scared.
words.
Honey.com.
oh, black
pretty wild.
box,
Skip
last
over
word.
this.
Good name for a porn.
You're scared of weed, but you drink like a fish. It's very odd.
Drinking
you scared of?
drinking makes me feel good.
And what does weed do?
Makes
Hug
me
your
feel
knees.
pretty bad.
Really?
Same.
Everybody's got their drug.
Well, I don't think the
Personality.
planes were real.
Yeah.
Like, there weren't any passenger
Gyges,
planes.
I have it regularly.
I disagree.
It's here to tell you.
There were no flights.
Bad news.
I'm
It's
with
gonna
you.
tell
All
me
the
to
things you're anxious
stop
about.
drinking, dude.
Fix those.
There were
All
no
those things you're anxious
casualties
about,
on the
fix
planes because there were no
With your shit.
flights.
You gotta do what's right for you.
Thanks, bro.
Oh, look at this fucking big.
I love weed.
Yeah.
Louis Katz has a joke about it. He goes, weed, marijuana means no worries. And then
Oh
one
my
day,
god, I
it
think
meant
this
all the worries.
joystick's fucked.
Right.
It's just like, I don't know when it turns on people.
It does turn on you, but it also turns on you if you've got something.
No,
else to
maybe I'm
turn.
not just holding. I'm doing it
We all
wrong.
have something to
I think it's
turn.
my
Yeah.
fault.
It's like those are the things you have to think about.
Yeah, I
Look at
mean,
the hot
well,
box, you fucks.
I'm not gonna get high on here and be like, fuck, I gotta stop.
Yeah, man. I don't think there were any planes.
Yeah, I'm working
You
on
already
it.
know that.
It's going slow.
I don't think there were any casualties on these planes because the planes did not exist.
Huge.
He made me work out today. It sucked.
Yeah,
You guys worked out together?
yeah.
Nice. What'd you do?
We did some
CrossFit?
little bit of some dumb training shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Look at you.
Embarrassing stuff. Look, started with some sumo squats. Not a big deal.
Oh,
It's
wow.
true, man.
Why didn't sumo ever make it to America?
Look it up, my
we
man.
don't. We were fat. We like to
Our
wrestle.
fat
Yeah, but
people
we
are
have
more
real wrestling.
lazy.
Yeah, but
Our fat
sumo's
people like to
cool.
move.
Now we got
Sumo's interesting.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
I think
It's
we could dominate.
An American
It's a
guy won,
Japanese
and
tradition.
they were all pissed about
Look
it.
up the victims
Yeah,
of the
champion.
I think it was in
people
Hawaii.
on the
That
planes.
makes sense.
Big
halfway there.
people.
Giant, big dude, big Polynesian fella.
You seen the guy with the ukulele?
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of them fellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
fat.
Big giant, big bones, big.
I know it's crazy, eh?
Yeah.
You gotta be a big fuck. They eat so much. You watch those sumo wrestlers eat. It's crazy.
Oh, really?
Oh my god. Because that's the whole thing. You gotta have mass.
I
Oh,
think
man.
they're great. Like they're heroes.
Yeah.
I held down on the joystick, I think. I think that's why.
I mean, just the rich history of it. It's a big deal over there.
Yeah, that's got to be fun though, because like
Yeah,
over
man.
here you're trying to cut weight.
9/11
It's all
was
about
controlled
cutting weight.
demolition,
Over there,
man.
You're probably trying to just keep gaining it.
Also, you're wearing like this rope diaper. It's
I don't
weird
like
Yeah.
the diaper.
that people
Yeah.
hang on.
There was
to.
nothing, it was all
Hang on
CGI.
someone's underwear and throw 'em around by
The
it.
addition
Very
of the
strange
planes,
sport.
there were no
It's
planes.
Yeah.
just all wedgie.
It was probably
Right.
just explosives.
I wonder if they've
There's
ever
a
had
psyop.
matches between like really elite high-level wrestlers that are
Greco.
big giant guys and a sumo guys. Like, I wonder who wins those if they do
The
sumo.
the only people that really
That was,
died,
sumo
unfortunately,
guys
sadly,
was
were the firefighters that went in, not knowing that they were going to do controlled demolition of the building.
Yeah, but I would imagine that
Because
like
they
a
figured there's no way that a
really
plane flying
good,
into it would
agile,
create
like,
its
300-pound
complete and utter
wrestlers might be
destruction.
able to-
They do have some of those. They do have those matches because there are some
It's impossible
sumo guys that are like
due to the
smaller.
laws of physics and
They
engineering.
look more like wrestlers. They're not big fat guys, and they go up against the Yokozunas, the
Yeah.
fucking
'Cause they gotta
1,000
drill
pound.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What is Yokozuna?
And I don't think it was.
know.
I don't think it was
That's a
America
great
that
name,
did it.
though.
I think it was
Yeah,
probably
Yokozuna's like the
Mossad in
champions,
Israel.
Let's,
It was definitely an outsider
Who's
First
the
they got
best?
from Dorn.
Who's
Yeah.
the best?
that would have
sumo
benefited
wrestler
greatly
today
from it.
alive, you
Yeah,
know?
we go.
Who's like the fucking?
And it was probably
John Jones of
Israel.
sumo wrestling?
There's got to be somebody.
There's gotta
John
be
Jones the
somebody.
It's
best.
probably Mossad.
It's hard to argue.
He
It's
never
More than
like
anything.
Mighty
down.
Mouse. Mighty Mouse just won
I
the
just saw
one
that.
championship. Who
was
won the
sick.
rematch and,
Oh, really?
and got his title back? Yeah. Mighty Mouse is the fucking man.
He's
If
good.
he also put it on the line more than John Jones.
But they're
I
all in
wouldn't say
cahoots,
that.
you know?
I would say
Can't-
John
like,
Jones
they're
put
all-
on the
they're all
line
in cahoots.
everybody that was against him in his division.
John
including
Jones.
Daniel
Just had less
Cormier,
fights, I guess.
Gustafson.
Yeah.
He likes the
Not that he
lines.
had less fights. It's like
Who does?
Okay, so
John
my
Jones
issue is when I
beat
switch
up
to right
the
strafe, I go
division.
down. I
You can't
gotta
say
stay
much
up.
about it, but
I stay up.
Mighty Mouse
Up.
was less recognized.
See, I
because
suck.
He was small. So these are the best
See,
guys right
I gotta
now.
keep it up, but I don't
Shit,
keep
this
it
is
up.
thin in America.
I suck.
Don't even help the guy up.
No, he's like, fuck you, bro.
Oh, they're bleeding.
Oh,
you never
he's
see them
bleeding.
bleeding.
Oh wow, what happened?
Smash heads.
Wow.
Is that what it
I
is?
really suck.
Oh yeah, right. He went nose to forehead right
I
there.
don't know if
This
I'm
is awesome.
even
Slap
fucking
face.
strafing
We
at
should
full
do this
speed.
here.
Oh, he's just
Oh, this is
slapping.
crazy.
Oh, you're done, dude. You know you're
Oh,
done.
he caught you slipping. Boom.
Look into it, man. Larry
Wow.
Silverstein,
Land on the ground. There's not even a cushion
he
there.
bought the
Oh, wow.
buildings
You
like
know,
6 months prior. Then he,
to throw you down.
for like a
That's
few
part of the
million,
thing.
a few
It's
hundred
like
million,
indignity.
and he got
I
like
love it.
a
I
few
love the
billion
diaper. It's
in
so
Slapped nuts.
terrorist insurance payout.
No, that's Nate.
Lucky Larry Silverstein. They have him on the PBS special saying "pull it,"
Throw down the lady in the front.
as in to go ahead with the destruction of the towers.
Uh,
LIHOP camp. What's LIHOP, my man? Sorry, dude. I don't know what that is.
Show that again. That lady, her shoulder must be fucked. Watch this. Boom. That's a man. That's a man. That's a man. That's a man.
LIHOP.
Watch. Look, he's got a bald spot.
Yeah,
Watch
you don't want
his
to be front row.
Watch what happens to his shoulder. No more mayonnaise jars. You'll never open up a mayonnaise jar
guys are
without harm.
Badass.
Yeah, these guys are huge. Dude.
Giant
They're not
guys.
just big fat guys. They're like
They're
they're
beefy.
strong as fuck.
They're tanks.
Oh, the
Yeah.
score is 7 trees to 2 bushes.
So these are the best guys, huh? These are the best guys?
They're not as big as I remember them as a kid.
This one guy.
No,
That
there's
guy's the
big guys.
best of all
There are
time.
big guys.
The best sumo of all time.
Oh,
So,
Okay, my left shape was good.
oh, that was slick.
It's because
That
I'm
fat
going
guy is
down,
Slick.
That's
down my
really
leg.
slick.
That's what we call a swim technique.
I bet they're slippery too. Those Asian
That happened?
hairless queefs.
on purpose.
Look at that. He's like a seal.
They probably have
Oh.
some very specific
just lets him
rules.
go.
Like you're probably not allowed to grease your body.
Well, I mean,
Sure.
Shoulder
I might be
right to
wrong,
the
but
face.
like,
Oh,
He knew
man.
he was doing it.
I don't think I am.
Johnny, we got to adopt this. Although you can just see this as an
Obviously,
eagle.
just some random guy in some
That
suburb
guy is like
somewhere,
the number
but
2 in
He's
the world.
clowning him.
Two guys
He was
tailgating.
clowning him.
based on the laws of
He's
physics
definitely beating him with strategy.
Now, what do they
and
make
engineering.
here?
I'm not even
There's
an
gotta be some
engineer.
Diabetes and stuff going.
It can't be good
in
for you,
material
right?
science.
To be that big?
It can't be great for you. I heard they eat once a day.
What?
But they're crazy once a day to get the metabolism down.
Look at this guy.
10,000
Wow,
calories.
so wide.
This guy fucking rules.
He's got
That's
nippers.
That's terrible.
Serious.
Feels
That
bad,
dude
run.
looks
Serious
like
nip.
he could take a punch.
I want
You can have it on purpose. Oh, I hear it, hear it, hear it.
Oh, he KO'd that dude.
That was incredible.
What? Show that
Shoulder
again.
him?
Show that again. Oh, he elbowed him in the face.
Oh, I didn't
Yo,
know you
he
could do that.
KO'd him. Do that again. One more
Like, I
time.
just want to play this friggin' 1.2.
Is that legal? 'Cause
Sumo's
that's
underrated.
It has to.
Oh, that forearm shot to the jaw, KO'd.
I don't know if this friggin'
Oh my god.
0.3 is really helping me that much.
100%. I didn't know this happened.
Telling you, sumo.
Is he gonna try again?
Yet, I
This is
guess.
cooler than I remember.
Watch
it
this.
here.
Here's slow mo. Oh,
Like his
That should be legal.
that's why not? It should be legal.
Why? That's awesome.
I thought it
That
was just
looks
pushing
awesome.
out.
Yeah, I
didn't
thought
know
it
you
was
could
pushes.
elbows and
But
shit.
it's your forearm. Maybe it's okay to push with your forearm. Oh,
He caught him with it.
that is 100%
cool.
a strike. That's
Yeah.
like some Muay Thai shit.
Wow. What
That's some
fat
Leon Edwards
fuck.
shit right there.
So fat. I
That-
love it.
That's elbows.
Look at these guys.
I like how they're backstage dingy.
That's a special skill to hit people with your elbows.
That guy moved.
Ooh, a nice flip there.
Have you ever seen Nate Marquardt versus Tyron Woodley in Strikeforce?
No.
It's one of the greatest elbow combinations ever, like a goddamn video game. This is when Nate Marquardt was one of the top fighters on earth, but people didn't really get to know him. He didn't get famous in America like he probably should.
Well, I mean,
watch this.
what evidence they have that it was like the official narrative that they found a piece of the passport of one of the
This is after
the
UFC.
hijackers of the plane, but they couldn't
before-
find the black
this is
box of the
before
plane.
UFC. This was Nate
It's
Marquardt when he
it's
was
like
at the top
it's
of
so
the world.
absurd.
I've never heard of him.
You know, he was one of George St. Pierre's sparring partners. He did a lot of sparring with Shane Carwin. He was one of those guys out
It's
of
too
Colorado.
absurd.
Bro, I'm telling you, at this point in his career, Nate Marquardt was a fucking
God.
beast. He was so talented. And he fought all over the world. Like, he fought in Japan when he was very young.
What happened to him?
Well, you know, all fighters, they run their course, man. Your body's not designed
He did
for
well in
this.
the UFC. Didn't he have
He
a
did
title
very
fight with
well.
Anderson?
He
And I
did
mean,
very well
the
in UFC.
fuselage of an aircraft is made of aluminum.
He knocked out Damian Maia with one punch in the UFC. Like, he beat a lot of good guys in the UFC. And Chael Sonnen beat him when Chael was at his best and Nate was arguably close to his best. And Chael just ragdolled him. It was one of the, that's why whenever someone say that Chael Sonnen wasn't a good fighter, I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind. Chael Sonnen just fought John Jones. It doesn't mean that Chael Sonnen was an elite. Chael Sonnen submitted Shogun.
Wow.
You know, if you watch Chael Sonnen fight, but watch the fight with Nate Marquardt, because that was Nate Marquardt when he was a fucking assassin.
Yeah.
And Chael Sonnen just fucked him to death. Just ragdolled him, threw him around, and you get to see like how good Chael was when he was at his best.
I've
He
never
almost
lo-
beat
I've-
Anderson Silva.
I've never lost one round of any fight in my life. I've never lost 1 minute of any
Congratulations.
fight in my life.
You never got into a fist fight?
No, that's a Chael Sonnen quote.
Yeah, that's what he would say.
Yeah.
He would say that. That's right. I forgot he said that.
Yeah.
He would
He's
say
funny.
that after he lost, like he didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, when I come into the octagon, thunderous. When,
Dude.
when Anderson Silva comes in, you can hear a mouse pissing on cotton.
Yeah.
He's got a bunch of lines on him.
Guy came that
Okay,
close.
this
to being in the
sucks. I
middle
might
of
just
the
do
triangle.
1.2.
If he
Seriously, I'm
just-
really
if he
hating my
just
life
defended
doing
that
this.
triangle, which he probably would 8 out of 10 times. If 8 out of 10 times, he just last round, exhausted, got stuck.
hate this
oh
fucking thing.
shit, I'm in a fucking triangle and it's locked up.
Yeah.
You got to realize like how long that is.
It was 4-0.
Yes. Yeah, he was dominating him. He was taking him down left and right. But it's so long.
Yeah.
To fight that long is so long.
To not to make one mental mistake
It's
against the
so
guy.
long.
You
You're
can't make
so
any.
tired. You're no one's body's designed for that. No
No.
one's body. So they have to pace themselves.
Oh, here we go.
Look, he trapped him. Look at that. Look how good that goddamn triangle is too, dude. That is just locked in. And Chael's trying to get out. Now he's got the arm too, and he had a tap because he was doing his arm sideways. See how he's got his arm sideways? That's terrifying.
Why won't he let go?
He's letting go. He's just making sure that he realizes he tapped.
Oh, okay.
I think Chael was saying that he didn't tap.
He definitely tapped.
He definitely tapped. 100% he tapped. I think he might have been saying he didn't tap. Maybe he woke up. Sometimes that does happen.
He's like, what happened?
No,
Bring
you
me, let's
guys go out. This is super common, and then they try to take down the referee. It's super common.
Oh, yeah, I've
It
seen
happens
that.
all the time. See, you can't think of it like you can't think like he was trying to cheat. You got to think he probably just woke up. Because if you're watching this, he's fully locked in with a triangle, and Anderson's squeezing and pulling down on the head. See how he's doing right there?
He's giving him the anaconda
Bro,
squeeze.
let me tell you something. That shit is. He's so close to unconsciousness.
shit,
I mean,
you
he's
don't have the
moving
chat on
around and
screen.
flailing, but
You gotta
when
let me
he's
know.
tapping here,
Yo,
he's
what's up?
tapping,
That was it.
He went
Yo,
out.
thanks,
He
homie.
He went
What up,
out.
Cloud?
Dude. He went out. Yeah. I think he went out. He might only went out for a half a second, but I think he went out. His eyes roll back like when he's tapping, and Anderson keeps his
Yo,
squeeze
what
on
up,
him.
Cloud
Blows to
9?
get
So
one.
when you wake up,
Yeah, dude.
clear
I'm
tap,
going for
but
damn
it's still
Agent
like-
53, my
that was a
man.
tap. That was a tap. He'll tell you that was a tap.
Oh, really?
But I think he just woke up. See, like he's 100% tapping. 100%
Yeah.
tapping. But here's the thing. It's like him waking up from that. Like you wake up from that, you don't know what the fuck just happened.
Yeah.
You literally went black and then back to reality. And you're like, what is going on? You think you're still in a fight.
Yeah.
Like, so guys.
Yo, what
that's
up, Cloud?
Like
Thanks,
Kevin Lee
homie.
did that too. That happened with him and, was it,
Ray Rice.
Yeah, dude, fired up. Go back to that one. Was that?
What's going on
We
here?
can't put this on. We're just
Kevin
gonna
Lee
watch
did it with
this.
Charles Oliveira. No, Tony tapped him with a triangle, but Kevin
Nate
Lee did it with
Diaz.
Charles Oliveira.
the finger?
Charles
I was there.
Oliveira caught him. He caught him in
You were
like a
there?
guillotine
Yeah.
or something. I forget what he caught him with, but he caught him like really tight. And Kevin Lee tapped, and then he woke up and tried to keep going.
Yeah.
I went out once.
Did you really? In
Yeah,
class?
and then Eddie Bravo was just over me. It couldn't
Why
make
is it
sense
so?
to me.
Why is so,
I was
like? Why does
did I
this
fall asleep
suck?
when we were talking?
Why do I suck?
And I was like, wait, no, we were doing drills. It takes a second.
Oh yeah.
This
I got
sucks.
knocked out in college and I pissed myself.
It's
Wow.
not. It's
That's what
not
happened to
quite
Tyson.
the
Although
same
we
thing.
talked about this last time.
Oh.
That's the most humiliating shit of all.
That happened
That's
to
what
me on
happened
a
to
plane.
Tyson against Buster Douglas. They had to tell him.
They lost.
He was in the corner, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, no,
it,
you
it
lost.
happened, but it's a little different. Like the chokeout doesn't give you the same damage. Like with the knockout, they'll ask
New
questions
mic,
like,
yo.
Sometimes guys get knocked out real bad.
No, it's
and
just
then, like,
closer,
talk to
man.
them
It's just
5 minutes later,
closer.
like, what happened?
It's
Yeah.
better set up.
You
It's
tell
close to
them
my
again,
mouth
then
and
5 minutes
face and all
later,
that
like,
shit.
What happened? And then you tell
Thanks,
them again.
buddy.
They don't
Thanks,
remember.
homie.
That's
Like,
scary.
Don't you lose like 10, 20 seconds back?
it's not a standard thing. It's not like standardized. It happens depending.
This is
on
pretty
how
much
hard
just
you
get
got
my
hit,
feet
where
wet,
you
as
got
they
hit,
say.
Who you are, what kind of genetics do you have?
Yeah.
Like, are you good at taking a shot, or is your body more vulnerable? Because everybody, it varies. Like there's guys like Mark.
Yeah.
He just bounces off his head.
Oh,
His
yeah.
prime
Yeah, I mean, I knew what it
he
was,
known
but
for
it was good to
being
get
able take a shot
confirmation
better than
because
anyone
it's
alone.
so
He's
friggin'
Hawaiian,
annoying.
right?
Australian. Well, Samoan.
Oh, Samoan.
Right?
Same shit.
Yeah, he's from Australia. He's the shit. Mark Hunt was an elite kickboxer. He won the K1 Grand Prix. That's like the most prestigious title in all of kickboxing. Auckland, New Zealand.
Oh,
I was just
wow.
in Australia.
Did he
It's pretty sick.
train
it.
also in Australia?
Yeah, he lives in.
Did it say
Australia,
that he
so
trained? Oh yeah, he lived in Australia. But he's from New Zealand.
Oceania's
He's
killing
the
right
fucking
now.
man.
Yeah.
What's
For
that?
them in the
And
war.
I
Tui
hate this.
Vasa, fucking
Tui Vasa's the man.
Stylebender.
He's
Too
awesome.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
fucking,
Stylebender.
what's his
Teo.
name? Volkanovski.
I might just do 1.2,
Yeah.
honestly.
That
Cool.
dude, Kai Kara France, is a bad motherfucker too. The guy
How
who
hard
just
is it,
lost
1.2 to get
Yeah.
He
53?
got caught. He got kicked.
gotta
in
be
the
easier
liver.
than
Did you
this.
see that?
Yeah.
It was a
Hate
good
the
fight.
liver.
It was a good fight. Good
Yeah.
fight. And he got caught. I mean, but that's what happens. You fight the best guys in the world.
How's your liver doing? It can't be great.
It's all right.
2 boost run on a terrible
I mean,
line
have you
run.
tested it?
Yeah, I take
terrible.
it. I feel it.
Oh,
I see
really?
if it hurts.
Does it pulse?
Does it push
No.
out?
You
I
get an
don't
expert to
know.
look at it.
I don't know. My
Yeah.
liver's
39,
I
this
can
will be
imagine if we had an expert
hopeful.
look at Shane's liver,
It's a
they
little
call
bit
him
better,
an
hope.
expert. You gotta come and see this.
That would be fun.
This
Atrocious.
thing is like the Hulk's dick.
Something happened.
It's the most
Yeah.
powerful liver we've ever encountered, ever. Like
Yeah.
it's,
We'll see,
it's
we'll
like
see. It's
5
early. It's
times
early.
normal
Yeah.
liver levels.
We gotta-
Back to the Future.
of
Remember that
everything.
liver we've been talking about?
Very nice, yo. Thanks, Cloud.
Imagine if that's what we found out.
Thanks,
you have
homie.
this like superior. You know how like Lance Armstrong has a big heart. Like he has like a really large heart.
Oh,
yeah?
Yeah.
that's nice.
He's a sweetie.
Yeah.
But it's like he has an unusually large heart, which like
I didn't
aids
know
in
that.
his cardio. Yeah. The question is that nature or nurture? You know, or,
Yeah.
or is it from all the hard work of doing it like
Yeah.
hard cardio his whole life, and also
Oh, I'm so
some
dumb.
help. There was some stuff going on. Some
Sure.
other
I'm not
things that
dumb,
might
but I
make
was
your
dumb
heart
I don't
for
want to
a
trash him. I don't want to trash him. He seems kind of like the man, but
He's the man.
The audacity to put out that Nike commercial where he's like, "What am I on? I'm on my bike, busting my ass."
When he
What are
knows,
you on?
When he knows.
he was on steroids.
Wow, I didn't know that commercial.
Put
I
out a
never saw
commercial
that.
like, "Suck my dick."
You know
Dude,
what?
he
His-
sued and won for libel for the newspaper article going.
Did he really?
Yeah, and he won.
Good
and then
for
they're
him.
Like, hey, can we get that money back?
Ah,
Dude, he rules.
he made a lot of money on those bands. Everybody in their hand had that
It's
band.
one of those
Live
weird
strong.
ones where if he was the only one
Yeah,
Exactly.
that
They
was
were all
on the
doing it.
drugs,
They were all
that's-
doing it.
Yeah.
They
It
had, to
was
give, they
like
had to give the title to the 17th
Sucks.
racer.
we are such children. We're such
I
children.
hate this.
Dude, let
We
'em
want
juice. They're riding
extreme
bikes.
athletic performance, but we
Might just
don't want
1.2,
to know that
honestly.
they're doing it with pharmaceutical help.
Yeah,
We're
why
fucking
not?
children. They say that the Tour de France is healthier for you if you're on those drugs. They sell the Tour de France
Yeah,
is
it's
so
probably
bad.
devastating.
It's so hard
Yeah.
on your
Of
body.
course.
Like you have to be a
I'll
crazy.
try one more
sad-
time. I
Also,
mean,
it's
I'm not
fighting.
going to.
Fighting makes sense because then you're putting the other guy at risk.
Yes.
You're
Yeah,
cheating. You're
true.
getting fucking roided
But you're
out.
kind of putting the other guy at risk with this because if they do have complications from
Oh.
that stuff, and if it's mandatory to compete. So
Yeah.
if you have a league and you don't check illegal drug use, this is the problem. Then you're subject to liability. And in fact, Mark Hunt is suing the UFC
I remember that.
because
about
Brock
Brock
Lesnar
Lesnar
tested
fight.
positive after his fight.
And they said, like, you put me in harm's way, you knew ahead of time.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
bullshit.
don't know if there's any merit to that case. I mean, he would have to prove that they knew it, that they knew that Brock Lesnar was doing steroids. And I don't think they would ever. How would they know? They're not in his camp. Unless
There's
Brock
something
Lesnar's calling them
wrong,
up.
definitely.
Hey guys, we
Just
think
so you
about
know.
D-ball every now and then.
No matter
No
what
one's gotta
happens
know.
tonight,
Dude,
I'm
how
not
scary
taking
is that guy?
He's like a cartoon.
I used to have a
bad
joke
guy.
about Brock Lesnar. I
He's like
said,
He-Man.
I'm not afraid that Brock Lesnar would fuck me. I'm afraid he would use me as a condom to fuck something way bigger.
So true.
He's so big He's a fucking enormous human, man.
The flat top, the sword on the chest.
And
I mean, it's
he
wild.
was an elite wrestler in college.
Yeah.
Elite. Like he's an elite wrestler.
That
He's
sword
a
on the
beast
chest.
of a man.
That should be a tattoo you walk up to someone and like, that's fucking, you look like a dumbass. Dude.
Yeah, that was one of the worst tattoos
Brock
of all time.
Lesnar. And everyone's like, dude, that's so cool.
Nobody wanted to say shit.
He had too many yes
No.
men tell him that was a good idea.
You know what he should do? He should go to some dude who's like really good and get like a fucking Conan sword put in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Can you
take
make us
that
look less like a
bullshit
penis?
sword. Because think about all those like super elite tattoo artists out there.
Yeah,
You know?
they can fix that up.
Fuck yeah, they could fix that up.
That tattoo's,
You know?
I would, obviously Brock Lesnar is cool. It's
cool,
You know,
dude.
I
It's
love that
awesome.
guy.
I
Yeah,
like the
also-
shit
I
on
don't
his
wanna-
back. I like the demons on his back with the hooks.
Whoa, look at the hooks.
I think he works out.
Bro, let me tell you
Kill 'em
something.
all.
That guy was such a freak. That guy
Jam
won
hooks.
the the UFC heavyweight championship. I
Look at
think
that.
it was his 4th fight.
It's like an action figure.
Jimmy Johns.
That's like some,
Jimmy Johns all the time.
that's like
all
some
that.
3D bullshit, but that's really what he looks like.
Yeah. Have
That's
you met
what,
him?
like, fuck yeah. I've called a bunch of his fights.
Oh my God.
He's a good guy. He's a real good guy.
Really? I'd love to
Yeah,
watch
but
him.
let me tell you something, man. That motherfucker,
Wouldn't you like to see him bang a lady?
that guy took the craziest chance that anybody ever took.
Let's hear it.
He was a WWE superstar, making millions of dollars, throwing people around, being the fucking man, and he
Yeah.
decided, I want to fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
Do you know the balls that takes? And
And to do it.
his second fight in MMA, I believe, was his who was his second fight in MMA?
The guy he tapped on.
Was it Frank Mir?
Frank Mir.
Was that his second fight in the UFC?
Wow.
In MMA? Was that his first fight in the UFC? Or did he have
That was
one
his first
other
fight in the UFC, if I remember. I'm guessing yes.
Okay, so that's his first fight in the UFC was with Frank Mir. So
Wait,
I was
Randy.
there for Min Nu So, or Min Soo Kim rather, which was in Dynamite. I was there. I was in the audience. Eddie Bravo and I went to see that. That's the night where Hoist Gracie fought too. It was they had it outside at the Coliseum.
Minsu Kim.
And
That's
so
Woody
he
Allen's
fights
wife.
Frank Mir. Frank Mir is the fucking former UFC heavyweight champion. And this
Wow.
is his first fight. You know how crazy that is?
He
First
tapped to
fight
it.
in the UFC.
Didn't he tap to something he didn't have to?
No. He had a tap. He
Oh,
got
really?
caught in a knee bar. Yeah. He
I
was
thought it was
fucked.
just like he had never seen it before.
So then he dominates Heath Herring, who was one of the toughest guys to ever fight in MMA, period. Heath Herring was a fucking animal.
Tackled him.
And just ran him over. And you got to see, like, what a freak athlete Brock Lesnar is. Then he beats Randy fucking Couture in his
Wow.
4th professional fight. And then he beats the fuck out of Frank Mir in the rematch. And then he comes and
Easy,
it was
Joe.
ruthless.
Joe, get fired
no,
up.
no,
You're
no,
rock
no, no,
hard,
no,
baby.
no. You
Joe,
have to
dude,
watch that
Leo,
one. You
Make
have to
Joe
watch
bong
that
a
one.
beer. Joe, bong a beer
Dude,
real
you need
quick.
to watch that one. If you
Take a
watch that one, he just beats his face to a bloody pulp.
Pull it up.
It's a rough one.
I prefer no pulp.
It's a rough one. Look at him. I mean,
Doesn't
it was
seem friendly.
It was a terrible, like, it was a terrible scene.
Oh
the
boy.
blood already on the ground. I love the UFC.
Damn,
Oh,
sucks,
yeah, this was
sucks
a-
to get knocked out in echo.
Right.
So he was going for the knee bar again, but this time Brock knows the defense.
Great head of hair on Mir.
Oh yeah, handsome fuck.
Really good
And
looking
by
guy.
the way, when he was young, one of the most fucking gifted fighters I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
He has more submissions where he has arm breaks than anybody I've ever even heard of. 2 fights in the UFC against world champions, and he broke their arms.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hottest
love-
fighter, Carlos Condit.
he's
best,
a very hot
Best
fighter.
guy.
looking.
Very good. Well, Alan Joban.
I don't know.
Alan
him.
Joban, pretty fucking good looking.
Ryan
He's a
Garcia?
legitimate model. Ryan Garcia's a handsome fella.
Ryan Garcia's a sweet
Luke
Rockhold.
Rockhold.
He's a hunk.
Rockhold's a hunk, dude.
I famously said the only reason anybody gets laid is because Rockhold didn't show up first.
There you
How about
go.
his fight?
That was
amazing.
bad.
That was fucking crazy.
That was
was
the
amazing.
blood shit.
It was amazing.
How about when he rubbed? Yeah, the
Yeah, he's
blood
rubbing
all
on his face.
Dude, for him to come back like that
He
and,
mad
and
dog.
fight Paulo
Yeah.
Costa, Paulo Costa like fit and in
He's
shape.
hot.
He's hot.
Damn it.
He's built like an action figure.
Both those
The
guys,
one
they were
boost
like
run,
best
good
body, best
gait.
looks.
Two hot guys.
I don't
Fucking
know.
hell. And
Two
everyone's
of the
like,
hottest guys
two
ever.
hot guys.
So
fresh
hot.
in
How
face.
many girls finger blasted themselves to that?
Guilty. I wonder if women do jerk off.
If I was a
to
girl
the,
and I was alone, and I was at home, and these 2 fucking animals
You
were
would
beating the
jack
shit out of
off?
each other, fuck yeah.
What are women
If I was
jerking
a
off
girl,
to?
What else
I'd
would
be
you,
like,
what else would you be
yeah,
waiting for?
Come get this pussy after you're done. Who's the conqueror? Who's gonna take me?
Yeah.
Is that how you would do it?
Yeah, if I was a girl. That's my personality in a girl's body. If I was a girl, that's what I would be.
How do you
I'd
whack
be
off as a guy?
just regular.
I'm gonna conquer you.
No, I hold it in for a few days.
Caveman.
I try not to jerk off more than twice a week.
What?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Because then I appreciate it.
I don't think that's not
Twice a week?
That's not that
I'm a
crazy.
2-a-dayer.
What?
Yeah,
Do
especially
one
on
in
the
the bathroom
road.
before the show.
On the road, it's hard.
On the road,
it's
it's
hard.
great. It's a great stress reliever before a show. It's
You got that
honestly
right.
been shown to
Yeah.
be that for performers. That if
Really?
performers can jerk off before a show, it alleviates a certain level of
Don't you
anxiety.
get tired
Definitely.
though? Don't you get
Tired.
lackadaisical on stage?
I don't.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? You gotta warm your body up.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I always do is I pace around. I get moving.
Same.
I breathe a lot.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you just sit down and then get up and go on stage, you're not ready to like totally perform.
It's the
Agreed.
worst. I always take fucking. I keep saying I'm gonna stop doing it. I take a nap before the fucking
Big
show.
mistake.
That's a big-
You're all
It's crazy.
foggy.
And
You know
then
what
you
the
wake
biggest
up and you get
mistake
there and you're
is?
like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Number one mistake: spaghetti.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
do it.
Way
Eminem.
down.
Don't do it.
Mom
Spaghetti and
spaghetti.
meatballs. Spaghetti and meatballs before a fucking show. You're done.
Who did
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
It's me. Me, I'm a guinea.
Me,
I'm a
I'm a
fucking
Mario.
idiot. Bro, when I used to eat like pasta all the time, I'm a gorger. I would eat like the giant plate of
Same.
lasagna.
Yeah.
And you just feel like I got hit with a tranquilizer dart. Just-
On stage, like, do you guys want to do this?
And when you're a broke comic, you get that free meal at the club. You can't
yeah.
stop eating it.
Gotta eat
Yeah.
it.
Sit
Gotta
down,
eat it.
buffalo chicken bites,
Yes.
3 Bud Lights, go on stage like.
I used to book shows.
Maybe I'll sit down for this one.
I used to book shows at Dangerfield just so I could get a free cheeseburger.
Yes.
They had killer cheeseburgers at Dangerfield.
That club was fucking perfect.
That was a
looking.
cool club.
Oh,
Looking.
God.
Good looking room.
That
Boy.
place is the best.
I got there at the end, and that was one of the only clubs that would book me at first when I moved to New York. So
Me
that-
too.
I would go there, and it would just be me and 3 fucking dudes I'd never heard of.
Super old guys.
Old fucking dudes.
Yeah, like
Then you're a
Mario.
new guy,
Weird
get up
guys
there.
that only work there.
was
Yeah.
crazy.
Long Island
Yeah.
comics,
And then you
right?
get in
Right.
there, and there's 4 people in the room.
Oh, yeah. And
4
the,
people
and the
total.
piano takes up 98%
And it was
of the
still
stage.
smoky.
Dude, it was
Yeah.
nuts.
Still, it was perfect.
It was
Cool
so
room.
weird. Dangerfields was so weird. It's like this shouldn't even be here.
That room was
Time
perfect. though.
capsule.
That was a cool room.
I used to do prom shows there. Did you ever do
Whoa.
prom shows?
No, I did those at
They were
Caroline's.
gone before.
Oh, prom shows are madness. This is how it
Yeah.
works. The show starts at like 4 p.m., okay? And you have shows all night long. You get out of there like 4 a.m. They just keep pumping kids in there,
Wow.
and they don't tell
Different
anybody
schools.
to leave.
No.
So they tell you they want you to do your same set over and over again, so the kids
they're
get
still
bored
here.
and they leave. But the kids get on stage. I watched
Oh,
a kid
yeah.
go on stage and take the mic from a comic and blow cigar smoke. Some big football player fuck. Some big 17-year-old kid from Long
Yeah.
Island
Yeah.
who goes out there with a cigar
Oh.
and takes the fucking microphone from the comic.
Chaos.
Hilarious.
The key is to just
It's
call
really
one kid a
funny.
virgin, and it would murder.
Yeah.
That was my
Just
ace up my
destroy that
sleeve.
kid's life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
he is He's
survive.
a school
It's
shooter.
like, look,
They
I'm
were
trying to
little
do well.
animals.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to do well for 10 minutes. I'm going to ruin your fucking high school.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
They were
Yeah.
little fucking animals.
They had those teen
Animals.
tour ones at the Improv, where it was like
Teen
summertime.
tours,
They were
yes.
doing a teen tour, and then they're like,
Ooh.
hey, just so you know, it's a teen tour.
That's hot.
They didn't tell me
14-year-olds.
that until I got there. I was in the room.
14,
Can't imagine.
15-year-olds.
And I go, I'm not going to change my act.
Yeah.
I go, if you want these kids to go to a nightclub, I'm not going to change my act. Like this
Yeah,
is,
right?
I
Like,
got
I'm not
extra
going to
dirty.
like change my act. I'm not
And they
gonna
want
do
it
that
dirty.
They do. Yeah, I got extra.
definitely
They love sex jokes. But if you went like a weird sex move, they'd be like, "This is I don't understand."
It's so irresponsible
right.
though. Like the parents, like, do they know?
What was
Do they know
that?
you
yeah,
can take
yeah.
them to the comedy store or the improv? The comedy store did it, but the improv did it.
Yeah.
Man, that
some
must have been so
parents-
fun as a kid, though.
Oh my god, it'd be
They
the
must
best.
have
I
been
know
a
our prom
blast.
sucked compared to that. We just got
Yeah.
like blacked out.
Same.
It would have been fun to get
Limo.
fucked up and go to a con.
Like, what was
Imagine
the
being in
best
high school
thing?
and seeing a comedy show.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
the best thing that ever happened in high school? You go to the museum.
Go to the woods.
Right, a field
Go to
trip.
the woods.
Woods.
Get fucked up in the woods. That shit ruled.
Yeah, but that was like
That was
not
the best.
in school.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you're in, I mean, they took them there for school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a part of this school project.
Field trip. Yeah.
We
That was
got
the
a
best.
party bus. Remember those?
Ooh, nice.
Those were fun.
That's
I got blown on the bus. It was a big highlight of my life.
Congratulations.
What?
In
Yeah.
high school, you got blown on the bus?
Yeah.
That's fucking
I
nice.
brought a date.
Was everybody there?
Ah, he was a good guy. No, you guys didn't do party buses? You
No,
get
but how
shit
do you get
house?
We had
blown
I think
on
we
the-
had
in
a
the
limit.
high school? You guys
It
get
was-
drunk on a bus?
It was fun. Everybody was getting blown, jerked off. It was good times.
Yeah, we used to do like group
crazy.
jerk-offs and blows and fingers. All that. We did all this stuff.
Spanish sword fight.
Yes. Did you guys jerk off with your friends?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
No.
Sleepaway
What?
camp.
Oh
Never.
yeah.
That's a
The way you
bonding
justify what you're doing.
experience.
It was never even brought up in conversation. Where it was an option.
See, that's the 70s.
You just tell everybody like it's great.
Those were different times.
They were different
We
times.
bottled everything. And
Yeah,
Boston.
when did people start jerking each other off?
Took each other off.
No, not each other.
Come on, you can tell me.
You
one.
get a corner of the room, you know?
Yeah. I
Everyone
got
take your side.
I
Do
got
you
a
like
pretty
look
long,
at each other eye to eye or never?
It happens. It'll happen.
I got a
occasionally.
story about it. It's kind of long.
Oh, hit me, baby.
All right. So every year, me and my friends would go out to Notre Dame. My dad would take us to the Notre Dame spring game. But my
Okay.
dad, he drinks a little bit, so he would occasionally get drunk and invite a guy from like the Knights of Columbus to be like, "You want to come to Notre Dame with me and my
Sure.
friend?" But for real, we would rent a van, and me and like 10 of my friends. So there's 10 of us. We're all in 7th grade. And then my
Wow.
dad and like 3 other guys that are drunk dudes. Just so they take us to Notre Dame. Anyway, long story. We get in a hotel room. We're whacking them.
Sure.
But before we whack off, one of the guys my dad invited, he's this like old fucking dude,
Uh-oh.
blacked out at the bar, and they had to take him home.
Oh, God.
So they take him home, throw him on the bed in one of the rooms we have, and then they go back to the bar. Then me and my friends are like, let's fuck with this guy a little bit. So we're slapping him, screaming in his face, shit like
Yeah.
that. He's not waking up. He's not waking up. Dude, we set an alarm clock next to his head and set it for a minute later and turned the lights off. Everybody hid. It's one of my happiest memories.
That's great. I
Went
thought you were going
off.
to say you jerked off
But
on
then,
it. Oh, okay.
But then, no, we didn't jerk off on him.
Okay.
But we jerked off. Everybody whacked off while he was asleep. Dude, this guy was passed out, laying in
When
bed.
you say everybody, how many kids?
8 dudes. eight 7th graders.
Oh, this guy missed
Whack it
out.
up. This guy's.
What,
This
like,
guy's.
all around him like a fucking
All around.
seance?
It was. Dude, he was asleep. A dude was next to him in the bed, and his body was shaking.
Oh, no. Was it hard to get off with that old guy there?
I did. It was
I guess he's
7th grade.
Yeah, he's so keyed up.
I didn't hear it, man.
But
Sorry,
then
dude. I
everybody
didn't hear
knows-
it. Don't know how bad it is. Sorry.
Yeah, we finished.
Some people might have faked it. Yeah. We get done. The room, by the way, the room stinks. Jizz, dude. Just BO and jizz from 7th graders.
I saw that Capri.
I'm probably gonna have to change this.
Cheeto jizz.
And then
Yeah,
my buddy
this-
goes,
it
"Alright," so
it
as soon
started
as we
off
got done
bad.
coming, everyone was like, all right, let's
No,
keep
it's
fucking
true. It
with this.
started off bad, and it's just not.
Dude, my buddy shoved his hand in his ass.
I'm really sorry, people. I don't like. I didn't listen. I don't know what this is about. I think these people are like closet homosexuals. Nothing wrong with being gay, but I think literally these people are closet homosexuals. Not Joe Rogan, but the guest. Nothing wrong with homosexual. I think they're trying to just normalize it, maybe for themselves, for others. But it's okay if you're homosexual. But like, Zuckerberg, you want to vomit for 3 hours? No fucking way. Louis C.K. Louis C.K. He's pretty dirty too. I'm not gonna listen to him. This guy's pretty epic. This guy's fucking like Batman.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Drink by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
Josh.
Oh my god. God, Spotify is so terrible. Like, it's terrible. I I hate Spotify. You know what? Just fuck Spotify. I need it though. I need it. I don't pay for it. Obviously, I don't pay for it.
All right, we're rolling. Joshua, my brother.
What's up, man?
Good to see you, my friend.
It's great to see you always.
Please introduce your friend.
Man, it's hard to introduce the unintroducible. So this is Derek Hamilton, who has been regarded by the New Yorker as the most prolific jailhouse lawyer that ever lived. He is
Okay, yeah, please, Mom. That'd be great. That'd be wonderful.
single-handedly responsible for
Okay.
freeing
Yeah.
probably over 100 people, including himself. He spent 3 decades in jail for murders that he didn't commit. He was framed by one of the most horrific, corrupt cops in the city of New York's history, someone by the name of Scarcella. But more than that, he's become known as one of the biggest and most effective criminal justice reform advocates in the country. And I'll get into it a little bit more later, but Derek is not a miracle. He's a force of fucking nature. And I'll tell you a little bit about how we met and how we got involved together. So probably about 9 years ago, Jay-Z wanted to get into boxing. And Rock Nation started a promotional company to promote boxers. And Andre Ward was one of them. So we were on the opposite sides of the negotiating table. And it might be less or more than 9 years ago. It was right on the heels of the Eric Garner murder, when he was, put in a chokehold on Staten Island. And Jay-Z was coming to sign the contract, and I was there with Jay Prince. And we started talking about what the fuck is wrong with this country, and figured out that we had a common bond in that regard. So fast forward to a few years later, I find out through
Wow,
working
39,
with Rock
insane.
Nation on just criminal justice reform initiatives that Jay-Z has this foundation that flies under the radar that is just remarkable. It's called the Sean Carter Foundation. He and his mother started it, and they take inner city youth, mostly from Brooklyn, really the 5 boroughs, and help give them an opportunity to go to college. But they start when they're in high school. They take them on a bus tour. They help them with the application process, and they literally change the trajectory of these people's lives. So I had this idea that I would have 5 of their scholars, we would do a scholarship program, come work on social justice cases with me. And Jay-Z's mom loved it. He loved it. Rock Nation, there's someone named Danya Diaz who runs their philanthropy arm, and she's on the board of the Sean Carter Foundation. We made it a reality. It took a couple of years. So this summer, I had 5 college students that were coming to work with me on innocence cases. And I said, I need somebody that can really connect with these people, because I have sympathy for the way they grew up, for the conditions that they were born into, for the opportunities that they didn't have, but I can't empathize because I'm white. It's just as simple as that. So I thought of Derek, and I had met Derek about 5 years ago, after he had been
It's
out
getting
for
better.
6
It's getting better.
years. And Derek was
getting
the
better.
first person on my mind that could mentor these students. And I asked him if he would join me in helping mentor them through this
This is
7-week program, working with me on a case. And over the past 7 weeks, we're this close to freeing this man named Bruce Bryant, who they worked on together. They worked on his case together. And to watch Derek and to know his story, I knew right away that he'd be able to connect with them, but I did not know his power. So when he picks up the phone and calls the district attorney of Queens, they take his call right away. He calls the head of a conviction integrity unit that's involved in re-reviewing cases. He's got such deep respect, and people in high places have such admiration for him because of what he was able to overcome in not only helping himself, but helping free others. He had a settlement with the city and the state, and instead of taking that settlement and resting on his laurels and doing whatever, which would have been understandable, he's dedicated his life to helping get people out of jail. And not only that, to helping reform the criminal justice system. But these are words like reform the criminal justice system we kick around. This man is a human tornado of action that instead of leaving destruction in its wake, leaves hope, and instead of devastation, leaves opportunity. I mean, so maybe tornado was the wrong analogy, but I've just never witnessed anything like it. So I'm on the verge of starting this new criminal justice.
Keep missing that B-press, I think.
Which we're not at
I don't think it's the guard opening it
announce,
simultaneously. I think it's me missing the
that is
press.
being funded by someone that I've talked about quite a bit on this show. And they were asking me to find a deputy director, a lawyer. And I said, I looked at resumes, I interviewed people, and I said, I found him. I found my lawyer. He may not have a law degree, but he knows more about criminal procedure. He's more respected. He's the best strategic thinker I've ever encountered, and he knows human beings better than anyone. And Derek's going to be I'm the executive director. Derek is going to be my deputy director, and I mean, I'll let him tell his story. But when you hear what he's been through and what he's overcome and what he has done since, he's not a force of there's words aren't adequate to describe who this man is and what he's overcome and what he's been through. I was trying to suck an ounce of his mental energy on the ride over here from Houston, just trying to understand how he summons the strength, because I'm trying to use it and apply it in my own life. So it's just, if I'm not going to cry yet. I usually wait till hour 2, but it's just so, it's just amazing
the sun
to
is
me
out?
the way
Are you serious?
the universe aligned for us to come together.
Wow,
for
I'm
him
definitely going
next
to be
me
playing basketball
today,
pretty
for
soon outside.
listeners and you to
My
hear
new
the
shoes,
stories
they
and
ride,
stuff.
my new outdoor shoes.
Well,
Oh,
it's an
yeah.
honor to meet you, Derek, especially after such high praise.
Ended
So,
up buying
tell me your story. Like, how did
a cheap
what
pair
happened?
of outdoor
Well, thanks
shoes.
for
I got
having me, and Josh, thanks for
a
that.
good outdoor pair,
Um,
Nikes, and I got
I
a
was
good outdoor
17-year-old
running
kid,
shoes of Under Armour.
Brooklyn at the time,
My gift
looking
certificates,
for
I got 2
jobs,
for 1. It's pretty sweet.
And I was a product of my environment. I was
God.
doing little robberies,
Sun, we haven't seen the
little
sun in
dumb
like
stuff
3
that
days.
adolescents do. And I
It's
got
terrible.
on the radar of the police department. They used to search me all the time, pat me down, throw me up on the car. Regular stuff that happened in that community.
I was really hopeful.
One day,
I'm definitely going to play basketball
a man
later.
was killed about 5 a.m. by some older
Oh,
guys
gosh.
in the neighborhood. The police had an identification of their car. They called the guy in, and he somehow told them he rented me the car. And that I was
Nice.
the
Yo,
one who
thanks,
brought
buddy.
the car back and told
Thanks,
them that
man.
I had committed
Thanks for the
the crime
support.
and that I had shot the guy by accident.
Dude,
and
it's
that
like
was my
fucking
first
2 a.m. there
real
again, man.
experience with the criminal justice
Thanks for
system.
being here in the
Murder.
fucking
I'm like, murder? You know, I did a couple of robberies.
in the middle of the morning,
petty
middle of the
stuff,
night.
But murder, that's not me. So, what was amazing to me is, number one, nobody would have gave me the car at 17 years old, right? Any cop would have known that this guy would have gave me his car. But they arrested me and they charged me with murder.
Can I clutch it? It's not that good of a
I
run,
was
but the gate was
convicted,
okay.
By a jury because they admitted grand jury testimony of a witness.
No, I fucking said it like a millimeter.
This guy at all.
Champion
Police
midnight.
made me
Oh
lie to
yeah, I
the
hear
grand
what you
jury
mean.
And say that I seen
40.
this guy. I'm not testifying. I refuse to testify. I'm not going to get up there and perjure myself. The
It
judge
sucked,
told
man.
the prosecutor that day that they were dismissing the case. That if they don't get another witness, this case is going out of here. Judge's name was Lombardo back then. This was 1983. I went back to Rikers Island that day. We came back the next day, and the judge said that he thought about this all night, and he felt that the only person who would benefit from this witness not testifying would be me. Therefore, he was going to allow the prosecutor to admit their grand jury testimony as evidence in chief at my trial, and I would forfeit my right to confront the witness and let the jury hear the truth, that she never saw the crime. So that was my first real experience. I was a young knucklehead. The lawyer that I had at the time, Candace Kurtz, said, look, young man, get your head out your ass and you better read these cases and you better see what's going on, like they're railroading. She took the stand and told the judge what the judge told her.
Why?
And I was convicted. I was sentenced to 25 years of life. And it was at that moment that I know that I had to study law, that I had to really dig deep in the books, and I did it. New York State, thank God, had a law library. They had all the books in the world. All you had to do was apply yourself. And I spent the next 5 and 6 years working on my case. In 1987, the appellate division in that case found that the judge had no evidence whatsoever that me or anybody acting on my behalf had threatened this witness, did anything improper.
Wow.
And that the judge was right.
It wasn't
There's no
Pace, though,
evidence
but
that can prove that.
terrible
So
ending.
reversed the conviction, and I was able to get out of prison.
Oh, I didn't even see the
after
Pace.
6.5 years. Unbeknownst
Whatever.
to me, there was a rogue cop by the name of Louis Garcella who felt that I didn't do enough time for this conviction. He didn't like the appellate division decision. 8 months later, I was in New Haven, Connecticut at a unisex salon that I had owned at the time. He came in that store and arrested me, told me I was going back to Brooklyn for a murder. And I'm like, murder? Like, this can't be true. Again? Like, how many times has this happened?
Let's see if we can get a
Went to
54
New
with
York.
2.x. Let's see if we
I
can
was
do that. That'll
processed,
probably be our goal for
about
today.
a year
A
later, I
54
went to
with
trial.
2.x would be a very good goal.
They brought a witness in by the name of Drew Smith, who said that she was present at the murder when her boyfriend was killed. That I was
That's a good goal.
gunman. I had a gun in my hand and I shot this individual several times with this gun. But her original statement to the police said she wasn't there, that she never saw this crime. She was around the corner at a store. When she came back, her boyfriend was dead. The jury never heard that statement. But in any event, the ballistics evidence proved that this guy was shot with 2 different guns, that he wasn't shot in the building where she said he was shot at, but he was shot outside in the street. Despite this evidence, I was convicted. After I was convicted was when I learned that she had first told the cops at the crime scene she never saw the crime, but she had told it to a different detective. So I made a pro se motion to set aside the verdict. And in the motion, I argued that this detective that never came
like,
in that
I don't
she
get
gave a
it.
statement to could prove my innocence. And the judge ordered a hearing for a year. He said, I can't give this guy a day in jail, let alone 15 years, which is the minimum. I want this witness to
I'm
come
do
back.
it one
The
more
prosecutor
time,
said,
one
"I'm
more
not
try,
calling her."
2.x.
And the judge said, if you don't call her back, this case is going to a new trial, right? They called her back, and she admitted that she never saw the crime, that the detective Louis Garcella told her what happened and told her that if she didn't get up here and say that I committed the crime, she was going to jail. She was on parole. Her boyfriend was a felon that just got out. She had kids. They said, you're going to jail. She said, what was I supposed to do? Here's the system telling me this, that if I don't come in and say this, I'm going to jail. And I came in and said it. The judge ruled a year later that, again, he felt that he said there was a common thread of string, that I manipulated this evidence. Again, I called the detective. The detective came in and said exactly what the witness said, that she told him she didn't see the crime, that she was beat up and took to the precinct and told she
That
was
looks a
going to
little
jail.
better.
Had that jury heard that, it would have
Maybe.
been different results. At the trial, they told the jury
Maybe.
that her first statement was the most important statement in this case, and that when the police arrived on the scene, she didn't hesitate.
See what this
She said,
pause
Derek
out.
Hamilton,
Hopefully
somebody
it's
I know my
39.
entire life committed the crime, which wasn't true. In fact,
Okay.
she said the truth, but she didn't see
See,
it,
that was better.
that she was somewhere else. I was sentenced to 25 years of life. I filed numerous post-conviction motions after post-conviction motions. Every time the judge gave me a hearing, every time he said he can throw the case out, every time he said he was troubled by this conviction, the prosecutor would come in and tell him I'm a bad guy, that this is not somebody you want to release, that they put imagined harms and make the judge think that I was the most terrible person in the world.
And that was with the side
He denied
boosts,
a
too.
motion every single time.
So that's good
I
news.
filed numerous motions, numerous post-convictions. I did everything you could imagine to prove my innocence, but to no avail. I began going to parole board around 2009. It was a very traumatic experience for me because at that time, the parole board wanted me to admit guilt, and I wasn't going to do that. I'm not going to come in and say I killed somebody I didn't kill. I'm not doing that. I don't care what you say, and I had to challenge them and fight them for 2 years. And then my family went out in protest, and we got a Daily News article put out that said that I would be
Fuck
free
me.
if the court would just basically give me
Threw it
justice.
away.
They just give this guy a fair shot, he'd be home. So it changed the mentality of the parole board.
Threw it
They
away.
looked at all of my evidence, and they said, you know, based on
This
the
will be a
evidence
good
you
measurement
gave,
run. See if
people
I'm
believe
like
me
doing
innocent.
anything
And this
wrong.
evidence speaks for itself. Even the judge said these things.
Because this should definitely at least be a 55 at least.
And at that point, I began a crusade. 'cause when
Yeah,
I was
like
in
I'm
prison,
not.
There were several guys. We built something called an Actual Innocence Team. Guys who I was working in the law library, so I would read guys' case and check them out. So what I had to do was get families together, get people to come together, bring their families, and say, look, let's send these people to city
Definitely
hall.
doing something wrong.
Well, there's a lot of us in here. It's not just me. It's white, it's black, there's a bunch of us in here that got the same issue, that they're procedurally borrowing us. They're not looking at our case. It's kicking it into the garbage. We don't want to hear it. Get out of here, right? Because they can. They have the power. So when we start bringing attention to these cases, it changed the whole dynamic. So when I got out, I joined that group, Family and Friends of the Romans Conviction. We had a PR guy by the name of Lonnie Sori, who was helping us keep it together. And we just began blasting the prosecutors. We began protesting outside their offices and getting rid of them. The first one we was able to get rid of was Charles Hines in Brooklyn, the prosecutor that sent me to prison. He was able to remove him and put a progressive prosecutor in that agreed that he would look at these convictions if he was elected. So he got in, and in 2 years, he exonerated 22 people. And he found that there was a systemic racist problem in Brooklyn that was convicting the wrong people. Fortunately for me, the New York Times reporter called me in, I believe, 2012. And they said, well, are people afraid of the police? And I just like, are you kidding me? Why are they afraid of the police? And I told them names of guys that I knew that was in prison that this cop set up. And a lawyer had contacted me and said that he was working on a case which this cop framed another guy by the name of David Ramsey. And he said, in 2 weeks, there's going to be an article in the New York Times that exposed this cop. And I told the New York Times reporter that. And I said, look, 2 weeks, if it comes out, you come back to me and I'll take you to these guys. And she came back, Frances Rover. She came back and I took her to these guys. She got the prosecutor to agree to look at 50 of these cops' cases, 50 of them. And, 20 was exonerated so far of those guys. And I was exonerated in 2015. In 2014, for the first time in New York history, the Appellate Division Second Department ruled in my case that a freestanding actual innocence claim could be recognized in the post-conviction motion. And they said that anybody that's innocent, the courts could no longer procedurally bar you. They got to reach the merits of their contention. They just can't say, well, you should have raised this before, or your lawyer failed to do this before, or you should have did. You got to reach the merits of it. Get to the bottom line. Is this guy innocent or not? And when they gave me that opinion, it kind of like, in itself, exonerated me, because the prosecutor now had to hear my witnesses. I had alibis. I had police officers who said, look, this guy was in New Haven, Connecticut, not Brooklyn when this murder happened. We know because we seen him there. He was at a party with him. I had a hotel receipts. I had many witnesses that could verify where I was at on the day with Candy Castle.
Yo, Big Cheese, what's up, man?
He,
Thanks,
fact,
homie.
proved who committed the crime.
How's it going, man? Yo, I'm trying 1.2 now because I was trying 2.2 and I had a great run, which I thought was like maybe a 55, 54, and it was 57. I'm like, fuck this for now. So I'm doing 1.2 for now, just to if I can do. I'm good, man. Yo, I'm good. Thanks, dude. You're okay? Hope you're doing well, dude.
But courts was just throwing it in the garbage because of the process.
I was thinking about you. I think you got your 53 with 1.2, right?
So my experiences taught me that
I'm not planning to get 53 with 1.2 today. I'm just practicing a little
one thing
1.2
about
right now.
prison, I tell people, they say, hey, everybody says they're innocent. That's not
Took
true.
you a while,
Right? They
dang.
tell a lawyer that.
That's not
They're
good
gonna
news.
Tell a guy in the neighborhood with them that. I know you're guilty. I was with you. I know what you did. You told me. Everybody tells me. You're from the same neighborhoods. So it's a small minority of people that's in the law library every single day. If you go to the yard, guys are working out in the weight pile, right? They're playing basketball. But
I mean, I don't mind using 2.x. It's just I'm just really friggin' slow with it.
Trying to find a way out, and that was me. Every single day, and I studied every book in there. I taught law classes, and I became very good at it. I mean, I was surprised that I know the college, right? When the lawyer gave me the first 2 cases and I read them, I was surprised how well I knew the cases. I was surprised how I comprehended them. And it was because of that that I kept going. And I found a civilian who liked me.
Only didn't grind it. It was chill. On-off playing. Too lazy, yeah.
Explain what that is.
I mean, I was trying it. I was trying for a while.
A
55.
44 was my grade on the test. I took
Oh
the
man,
test.
I'm
First
probably
test
gonna
he
stop
gave
playing and play some
was
outdoor
concept.
basketball, to be honest, because the sun is
Had
finally
one
out
four,
after
fifth,
3
sixth,
days,
eighth, and
and I just got new shoes, so I might do that
failed. I was playing.
instead.
And he said, look, you're not going to waste my time. You're smarter than that.
Like
You
very
challenged
soon.
me. Next time I came back, I got a 97.
Hope you're
So
doing
from
well,
that
man.
point on, I just started studying, start gravitating to the older guys that knew more than me.
Yeah, it's like a
Because I
beautiful
was
day.
young, there was
Well,
no
it's not a
teaching
beautiful
me.
day,
I was
but
like
the
a
sun
young
is out.
sponge, and I just loved what I did. I became passionate about it.
That'll really lift my spirits.
Derek, what kind of repercussions are there for
Not this
cops
stupid fucking
who
level.
do things like this?
None. I mean, in our case, the statute of limitations had ran out on this guy.
Cool
And
here.
let me just tell you
Cloudy
something.
day, yeah.
He didn't just do it in the police department. He left the police department, went into the DOE, the Department of Education, and he did it there. He framed the guy in the DOE. They later found out the guy
Hurricane.
did nothing wrong. They had to reinstate him. This is just his nature and his character.
Or are you in
he's
Colorado? Are you in
just away
Pennsylvania or
with it?
Colorado?
What's his name?
I know you were at
And he's out
the
there still?
Colorado
He's
meet.
out there. He's still getting the pension.
I guess you're in Colorado.
He's still paying this guy.
Denver, yeah, you're
We
in
still got
Colorado.
cases today
Okay,
that
then
we're
the
fighting
hurricane is
for.
like
James
nowhere near you.
Nelson Cruz.
I thought you were in Pennsylvania for a second. I don't know why. Of course I knew you were at the Colorado meet, but
You know, I tell you something.
6 months ago, nice man. That was dope. That's dope, man.
This guy.
From North Carolina,
worked on 200
yeah, that
cases.
makes sense.
My father was killed in 1988. He was the detective on that case. And I tell you something about that.
That's cool, dude.
He said that one of the guys
Yo, thanks for being here,
snatched
man.
a confession out of his hand and ate it. I didn't believe that. I said, as much as I want people who may be responsible for my father's death, I can't trust this guy.
It's not a bad idea,
can't take
Cheese,
nothing
to
he
mix
said
it up and not
true.
spend just forever going after this level.
Just recently, that case was overturned.
Right, like it's a
Sam
pretty good
Jefferson
run.
case because of his sloppy police.
Definitely not 53,
So
but
he
maybe
says
54.
200 cases he worked on. I would like to believe at least half of those guys
Wow.
are innocent.
Well, a lot of them have been
I don't wanna-
exonerated. How many Scarcella
To one low, yeah, me too.
20 to date. 20 to date.
How does a guy not just get locked up immediately for that?
And when he
Well,
testified,
except for
when
Aztec.
he testified, he has 2 lawyers with him.
And you too for Aztec.
Right? I've never seen a witness come to court and have 2 lawyers standing with him. We object
I
to it all the
forgot
time.
what I was doing.
But I mean, this is how much of
Oh, yeah.
He had 2 lawyers standing with him all the time. To try to
Wow,
protect his
the
rights. And he don't
sun.
remember anything now. Like he don't remember, the court.
Sun is so beautiful.
Nothing.
Oh my God.
You gotta bring the police reports to him and say, "That's your signature. Did you do this?" But he don't remember anything.
I think this would be a pretty short session.
It just shows you, he's been written about a lot. Scarcella, there have been scores of articles out there about him because he was exposed.
Oh, I have
This
no
is
auto
not
aim.
an indictment of all police that are amazing cops. There are, but a couple of bad eggs that let the power get to their head, a couple of rogue cops, they don't just destroy a life. They destroy, it's a ripple. One, if you like.
Might do some
Derek and
frigate
I
essay runs
were
just to
at
get a
Sing
completion.
Sing,
Just some random ass completion.
visiting one of our clients, this guy Bruce Bryant.
That might be pretty good.
It's the brothers, the sisters, the family, and then you start to multiply that out and the ripple effect
Wow,
of how it
shot him
affects
right in the
these
head.
families. There's been 20 exonerations. I think there's been 22 actually, but there's been 22 exonerations connected to this one cop. It only takes, some rogue cops and people to look the other way. And I mean, look at this beautiful man, how articulate and bright, and he's prolific in what he does. And he snatched his life from him. We were talking last night about how this is like a second chance to live for him. Some of the best years of his life, he'll never get back. You're never the same. But he's easily the exception to the rule because he's out there and a force of nature and working toward helping to solve this problem. But, Scarcella, we were just asked the same question on the way here. Because
Damn it, this
you how
hostage is so
small the
weak.
world
You
is.
shoot him
I
one
haven't
bullet
talked
and he
to Paul
passes away.
Malnaghi in years.
Or
And
maybe
he
I'm
said
just
to
too
me
slow.
something interesting. Called me the other day to check up, how you doing? What's been going on? He said, I've been following the work you're doing. And for those that don't know, Paulie was a world champion fighter that liked to talk a lot that I managed years ago. But he's a good soul. He's got a good heart. And he said, there's this case you got to look into for me. A guy named Louis Fama, F-A-M-A. He's Joey Fama. And he's like, this guy was railroaded by this cop Scarcella. And he's like, will you look into this case for me? I write to him every month.
No.
So I asked Derek on the drive over here, you hear about this guy, Joey Fama? He goes, yeah,
Alright,
I'm
let's
working on
just
this
fucking
case right
quit.
now. We just filed post-conviction motions on his behalf. So we called Paulie in the car, and Paulie was like, oh my God, there's a reason why I called you. And he said, you know, he asked the same question you did. How in the fuck is this guy still out there? Because whatever crimes he committed, the statute of limitation had run. Number one.
Fucking
Number
hell.
two, nobody's got the
I always
balls to
light that guy
prosecute,
up, man.
because that would be an admission, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And let me tell you how crazy it was, right? Again, the prosecutor was down with him. They was all a part of the same clique, right? And he used a witness by the name of Teresa Gomez in 6 murders. For 6 months in a row, each month she gave him a murder. In
Really?
one murder, she said she looked through the
Every
peephole
fucking time?
and saw the guy shoot. There was no peephole on the door. 6, look, just think about it. 6 murders. Who see 1 murder, but 6 in your lifetime in 6 months in a row? To today, he swears she was the most credible witness ever, that she was the best witness in the world. And they used her. The prosecutor Ross at that time is now a judge.
What?
in Brooklyn.
Come on,
And
man.
on a
So dumb.
cigar website,
That guy can
he
be a
said the
troll.
first time he smoked
Yeah.
a cigar
Exactly,
was when that
precisely.
lying crackhead whore got a conviction. He was talking about Teresa Gomez. They knew she was a liar. They knew that she would lie on people, and that
was
was
fast.
in Robert Hill's
That was really
case. He was
fast.
exonerated. His brother, Albina Jeanette, is exonerated. And Darryl Austin,
Really
3
bad.
brothers she put in jail.
Right in
all
the
3 of them
fucking head.
exonerated.
I'm
Darryl
used to the
Austin
double O
tried
guard
to
with the
jail.
hostages where you can
There's
shoot the
no,
hostages
no
like
repercussions
2-3
for that. He
times.
just lives his life, runs on happy, and he's still to the
I
day.
gotta really improve my
despite
accuracy
20
here.
convictions being overturned, said he did nothing wrong. It's bigger than him. It was the system. He said, I arrest, the prosecutors convict. You know, I give it to them. They decide what to do. It wasn't my decision. And it's just crazy. That's how the system works.
There's no way he's
Is
still
there no
alive.
law
How did he
that,
die?
First of all, eliminates
Did I
the
shoot
statute
him?
of limitations when someone puts someone in jail for the rest of their fucking life.
Oh,
And-
so dumb.
and also treats something like that as organized crime. That's organized crime
Well, we
by
gotta-
any definition, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Here's the thing that people have to start to understand and get through their heads and believe it. We have
Fuck
to
you.
be careful about who we put in power. This is not, are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? Are you this? We have to be careful because power is worse than any drug. I'm now convinced of that. Fame, power, any form of it. And if you don't start paying attention to the people that we are putting in positions of power, this
Gonna go now.
it is
Work.
human
Yo,
nature
thanks,
that
man.
this
Thanks,
will
homie.
keep
Thanks for saying.
happening. As
Hey, congrats on the job.
mammals
And
that we are,
Thanks,
we're
man. Appreciate that a lot,
hardwired to
dude.
abuse power. And you ask a great question, which is how do we not
Really cool.
suspend the statute of limitations? It takes people that are willing to do the right thing.
Right.
which
You know,
guy?
like, I
This
have
guy shot him
been-
in the fucking
I
arm.
have been excoriated
So dumb.
about
Thanks, mate.
you went
Yo,
on Rogan
sure,
and
man.
said
Thank you,
that-
dude.
that Kamala Harris
Maybe I should
was
off
this,
auto
but
aim,
then you
honestly.
voted for her. No,
I think it
fucking
is helping
didn't.
me though, especially
I
the first
call
guard.
it like I see it. And I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. We have to be careful about who we put into power. And once you start putting people in power that will do just
Wow,
the right
isn't it
thing,
amazing?
not the popular thing, but the right thing, laws like that can get changed. They can get changed. And you know, you have said it before, and you're right. We're too until we can get out of this tribal mentality of either us, them, those. We're going to keep on seeing this happen.
That shit is built into our DNA. We have to
He
understand.
actually died.
that we evolved.
Can you
as
believe it?
tribal groups.
Or rather,
And
he actually
because of
survived.
that, we had to fight off other tribal groups who wanted to steal our resources, who wanted to take our women. That's
not
always
gonna
been
make
the
it.
case with human beings. And
Oh my
we've
God,
just
it actually
moved
made it?
that into Republicans versus Democrats.
True.
That's what we're doing.
And it's bad. And,
No way.
And it's dangerous. I call it like I see it. The reason I was critical of Kamala Harris is because I called it like I saw it. And I'll
What?
tell you
Released? What?
It was not a popular thing to do. Derek knows some of the fallout that I faced
What?
from the left, quote unquote. I don't.
Because they wanted to protect her.
What?
But it's accurate.
Yeah.
The problem is everything you said
I don't-
is
I
accurate.
don't
Everything you
understand what
said is
happened there.
provable. Everything you said is a 100% stone cold, carved in steel fact.
Yeah, but it happens on both sides. Like, let me give you an example. Here's something that blows my mind, okay? And we just have to be willing to step out of this tribal mentality, all right?
Yeah,
Look at
I'm
a guy
probably
like
gonna
Ron
just
DeSantis,
get like a PB
right?
here, whatever the
Everyone's gonna
RNG
back up
people give
already.
me,
Ron DeSantis, all right? What
and then
he
I'm probably
did in
going to
Orlando
go outside and play some basketball. I'll
was
probably stream it.
so fucking mind-blowing. Was
Sorry
it
if you're
in
really looking
Orlando
forward to
he did this?
GoldenEye.
No, in Hillsborough County in Tampa.
This is fucking
He goes
bullshit.
and removes this
It's beautiful
really
outside.
terrific guy, right? Who, whether you like him or not, let's not call him a terrific guy. He goes and removes a prosecutor, an elected official. On the
Yo, what up, Dick? How you doing, man?
that if
Dude, the sun
a
coming out has
state
improved
law
my mood.
Passes.
Man,
this
dude, the
guy
last
won't
few
be
have been like
enforced.
so just
All right.
bad.
Hypothetical.
Fucking, I didn't even want to
This is
talk on
hypothetical.
stream
This is
yesterday.
a
I apologize. Sorry,
because the
everybody.
guy signed
Had to
a
write
letter
that
along
fat
with
Greg.
a
I had
bunch
to
of other
had to
state and district
continue the
attorneys
conversation that he
saying
freaking
can
started
pass
with me
an
yesterday.
abortion law.
Me being an idiot, not
I don't think
replying.
it's a good use
The
of
mic
our
far away.
resources to
What's up, Dick? How you doing,
prosecute
man?
people that might be the victims of rape, you know, who were
I need to focus. I need to
doctors
get
who are
that
trying to
54
help
off my
victims of
back,
rape.
man.
I think it clogs up the system, and they have their
I might try the
rationale.
2.4
But there had
strat
never
and
been a
kill the
case brought
guard
before.
in the
Now, why
bridge,
did Ron DeSantis do that, in my opinion?
and then switch
He
to the
did
bug
that
on the
because he
boat,
knows
and then switch back to
abortion is a hot
1.2.
button issue.
Plant the bug.
He goes down there
And kill the other
removes
two
this
guys
guy,
just for
he
PV.
becomes a hero for it. Here's the hypocrisy.
Oh, I can't believe
This
it.
has nothing to do with politics.
So guys, in World
This has
War
to do
Yo,
with the
thanks.
right thing. Watch this. This should fucking freak
Secret
everybody
agent, I could
out.
probably get a PB.
Imagine this. In Florida, marijuana is still illegal.
Or Surface One agent.
I want to get it right, so I don't. I'll tell you what statute it's in the Florida statute.
It's
if
very
anyone
illegal.
This is hard though. This is a freaking hard
the
strat.
statute criminalizing
It's really
weed in
hard.
Florida is section
Should I just do traditional?
893.0.
Or should I get?
It's a
Or
controlled substance in
should I just
Florida.
kill that first guard and the
There are a
second
lot
guard
of states where
traditionally?
it's still a controlled substance, but it's
I mean, I might as well.
decriminalized.
Why not?
Florida's not one.
Right? Like, why am I trying this
In
super
Hills-
fast
in-
YOLO
in
strat?
Orlando said, you know what? We're going to decriminalize it. Here's how we're going to do it.
Wow.
We're going to make it like a traffic ticket. There's a sticky problem there, though,
Like, fuck
because there's a
off.
state law, section 893.03, that makes it illegal. So they passed a county ordinance. They got the city council together, and they passed a county
Yeah, Dick, I got my
ordinance.
new basketball
And they
shoes.
said by a, what was
I
it,
got
4-3 vote.
Cheap pair of Nikes outdoors.
We are not going
Not
to
cheap, but like not
prosecute
fucking over $100,
according
like
to
85
state
bucks
law.
outdoors pair.
We're going to prosecute according to this
Fly by
county
mid
law.
threes. Apparently the best
If
outdoor
Ron
pair you can get.
DeSantis gave a shit
And
about state attorneys
not because the quality,
not
just the price
prosecuting
point and everything,
crimes,
and quality.
Don't you think he would have?
And I also got a pair of Under Armour running shoes, dude.
They
They were on super sale and friends and family sale at Foot Locker.
A state attorney.
Or not Foot Locker,
I'm
at
pulling you out of
fucking,
office. That's the first thing he would have done. He didn't do
Sport-
that.
Sport
they
Check.
actually created
So I
a
got
way
good
to
shoes now too. I know
circumvent
you've been
state
really
law
telling
and
me I
did
gotta
it.
get good
This is
shoes.
not
Gotta
a
get shoes.
hypothetical.
So I got shoes for running.
Why did he do that?
So I hope to do
Why
some
didn't he
fall
do that?
runs, some
Because
fall
he doesn't give a
walks,
fuck about
some
this
autumn
is
runs.
Not about the issue.
It's gonna be
Also
amazing.
probably because it's politically
When it's like shitty outside, we could still just walk, go for a walk or a run. It's
This
gonna be really nice.
He's gonna make himself. So whether you're a quote-unquote Republican, a Democrat,
Thanks for all that
libertarian,
support and help,
if
dude.
you
So I got
don't
two
look at
shoes
that
for one,
fact
two
and
really good
say,
ones for one.
There's something
Under
really
Armour.
wrong.
Yeah,
Something
pretty good. I
wrong.
mean, I don't know. I just got it
care
because it was
about
cheap and it looked
anything
good.
else involving this man. That
High
in and
review-
of
high
itself
ratings.
Smacks of fascism. When you go grab an
Steph
elected
Curry uses
official,
Under Armour.
scruff of their neck, and yank them out of an elected position.
I mean, I don't want
that
to sound like an
doesn't
ad,
horrify
but
you? I mean, but when it comes to weed,
Steph Curry's one of the most
you know,
explosive fucking
it's
players on the
illegal in
court.
the state of Florida. You
Wow,
sort
terrible.
of did an end around here to get around the law, but I'm going to leave that state attorney alone. There's no answer to that. I have met this man.
That's definitely not going to work.
He threw a tissy fit
Wow.
over the fact that I was wearing a mask at the height of the pandemic because my son has type 1 diabetes, and it wasn't known yet whether I could get it, pass it to him, and instead of meeting with me, turned his back on me and walked out. He cancels clemency routinely in Florida. That should bother people. That people like Derek,
Brand is David
who just want
Clementine's.
a hearing, just hear me. You cancel the fucking clemency? You cancel the entire hearing so people's cases can't get heard. And until we're willing to step out of this,
Why do you think he does that?
you would because he's You would have to ask him. But the question is, why are we tolerating it? Why are we putting up with it? Why are we
He uses
saying
what's it
that
called?
that's okay?
Gym rat? No, not
Because-
gym rat.
Because it's a tribal mentality.
Fuck.
Until people are willing to
Fuck's
sort of
that shirt
step
here?
away and say, you know what?
Jim
I don't like what
fucking-
this
I can't
individual
remember.
does. I'm not going to vote for him.
I
I'm
know
not
that's
gonna
some heavy
vote
stuff.
that person into power. There are judges that get elected in the state of Florida, some that have ruined the lives of my clients. And they continually get elected because we
Oh my
go
God,
along
let's go.
party lines instead of using our minds.
Pretty good
And,
pace. Not
Derek
really
and
good
I were
pace,
talking
but like
about it on
a
the way
second
here.
faster.
What is it that prevents people from saying,
no
you know
way
what,
it's gonna
I'm
work.
going to do something?
Wow, I
Instead
can't
of
believe that
talk
actually
about
worked.
it on Instagram, or post about it, or bitch about it at a cocktail party. What prevents people from saying, you know what? Maybe I'll run for office, or maybe I will write a letter, or maybe I will go protest, and maybe I will take up this cause. I don't know what it is. It's something stops in people, and they say that's just something for other people. If you want to make change happen and be about the change, you can do it. If you actually, this guy is
Right in the fucking head.
the best example of the power of one, and how the power of one can sort of light a fire under the power of others. I'm inspired by him. I feel like there's not enough time in the day to get things done, and you start to see the fruits of your labor when you get the wind at your back and you start making change happen. And I just think people feel like, well, politicians, that's for someone
Please.
else, or being a leader, that's for someone else. A lot of it is just sort of getting out there and making it happen, or else we're just going to be in this echo chamber with each other talking about, oh, power corrupts, and what are we going to do about it? We have to
Fuck
do
off.
something about it.
I think I turned too
Derek,
fast.
It's amazing when some people get their back
It's
up
pretty
against
fast.
the
Probably
wall,
my fastest
they
run
become like a different person.
ever.
Like you literally
You're
changed
7?
the
Okay,
course
no,
of your
I've definitely had
education,
faster.
You learned law. Like that is so inspiring to me, that someone who gets put in a terrible situation, instead of woe is me and complaining, you went out and you changed the course of the history of your life. You really did. You did it yourself. That's so incredible. I mean, I've heard similar stories of people becoming jailhouse lawyers, but I'm always inspired by that, and I'm always inspired by.
Alright, let's get like
human
a
spirit.
completion, just any
Someone
completion.
can, despite the odds, despite
Especially the
the way it
honor armor. They were
feels,
on
despite
sale.
the
They were like
inclination
$90,
to
but
lean
they were on
towards
sale
despair, that you
like 50 or
figured it
something
out,
for
man. I mean,
53
it's
or
really
something. They were.
amazing.
Well, for me,
I forget the names, and I can pull them up.
I could never understand how, I give you.
They were
an
$90
example,
shoes that were on
and
sale for
right
50,
this
and I had the friends and family
wake up 5
25%
o'clock in the
off
morning,
week sale or
go to
something
court. So from 5 a.m. to
that
probably
they advertised
10
online.
o'clock at night, you're in the bullpen, you're stressed out, and guys fighting each other, cutting each other. It's a zoo house, right?
It's a good deal, yeah. It was really good. Thanks, man. Thanks,
Thanks,
homie.
Each other, but when you go before the judge, you're a pussy. Excuse the vernacular. I just couldn't understand that. Like the most important thing in your life, you don't stand up and fight. And I know that didn't want to be me. I wanted to be the smartest guy in that courtroom.
I can write the
They was
name
gonna
of. If
railroad
you're really
me. I was
interested, I can
gonna
write the name of the
have
shoe in the
I was
fucking
gonna say,
chat.
Your Honor, may I address
I
the
can check
court?
my
And I was
email.
gonna state the
Thanks for
law
your
and why
interest,
what
homie.
you
I
did
really
was
appreciate
wrong.
that and your
So
help
I
and everything.
thank Candace Curse, that attorney that gave me the advice. Study law, man. You got to fight for your life. Nobody's gonna fight for it for you. And I grew up a fighter. I grew up in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. And I couldn't fight physically, so I know I had to arm myself mentally with enough intelligence
God,
to be
man.
able to take on a judge, to take on a prosecutor, to take on my defense attorney if they was wrong. And that was my thing. When I went in that courtroom, I wanted to make sure, even though you was railroading me, that record, and that's what got me out of prison, the record. All of my objections got me out. The judge had to admit that there was evidence to prove I'm innocent.
Oh, I forget how many. I forget how many. Oh shit! You gotta turn off this shit.
Like I was guilty. Whenever the prosecutor said that I shot somebody and killed them, I objected. I called them on the phone. I wrote letters. I used to call the Judge Chambers and act like I was somebody.
Under Armour store and try 'em on because an error. Bought Under Armour shoe.
They would be like, hey,
Will
tell your
feel.
client,
That's
don't
true.
call me no more. But to me, the most important thing I had was my life. And if I didn't stand up and fight for it, nobody else would. Nobody else could. Nobody else knew I was innocent.
Huh?
And they always believed that
Do I
you're
change
guilty
weapons on
because,
on the first control? I can't
prosecutors,
remember.
Lawyers, judges, a lot of them are
Weapon,
the same.
yeah.
Democratic
That's what I was
Party
doing.
in New York City. They all amongst party lines. They all hang out together. They're friends. I was the only outsider in that. And I knew for a fact that if I didn't stand up and throw punches back, the only way that I could through the law, that I would have stayed in prison the rest of my life.
What was the process like of learning law? Like,
Okay,
did
6,
someone
I think.
guide
I think
you
it's
through it?
6.
Did you just pick up books? How did that work?
I'll tell you, it was different processes at different time. When I first began, the fortunate thing for guys in New York, they would have something called unofficial reporters. So they would give us books when we can cross-reference through something called Gyges. So let's say I got a criminal law topic. I can take that topic and run it through a Gyges and get 20 cases the same way. But for me, what I used to do was read a lot of briefs, read a lot of judges' decisions. You're trying to like get the concept. And the more you read, the more you learn. One of the things I did was I read the criminal procedure law from front to back, from one all the way to the end. And it gives you the procedures of what happened from the moment you're arrested to you're convicted to your appeal and everything else. I had to master that. There was a guy by the name of Joe Diaz. They used to call him a colonel. He was an old miserable guy in prison, didn't like anybody. But he took me up under his wing because he seen that I was very adamant. I wasn't going anywhere. And he just told me, you got to know procedure. That process
why isn't it shooting?
Get you on procedure. That they don't want to go to the merits of your claim. If they can get the judge to get you out of here without hearing the merits, they're going to do that. So I had to master procedure, and I only did that by reading. I did 10 years in special housing unit, and all I did was study in special housing unit. Amongst the banging and the craziness, I just read books every single day. They would
Why would it do that?
Books from the law library, and I would read them from front to back.
Well, wait. Can you explain for the listeners and for, I think Joe knows now, but what that means to be in the special housing unit?
Special housing unit is, some call it the hole, some call it punitive segregation.
8 times?
But you are in a very small box of a cell for 23 and sometimes
I don't
24
get
hours
it.
a day. You're around a
So
bunch
it
of
doesn't
mentally
register?
ill prisoners who throw feces and urine on you. They just burn the cells. It's a madhouse. They bang loud. It sounds like
Yeah,
bombs
8, I
being dropped.
guess.
I mean, it's a very, very toxic environment for the prison guards and prisons alike. And it's a punitive tool that they use against people that they feel have too much power in the prison or they don't like you. For
No,
me,
it's 6.
I was writing lawsuits. I was litigating against the conditions.
Sometimes they don't
of the prison.
register,
So
I
they
guess,
target
or some shit.
and they always single you out.
Pretty sure
You
it's
know what? You
6.
think you're tough. You think you're going to be in the box. And I did 10 years in there. And it was the most horrific experience in the world, but I made it work. I would roll my mattress up, and I would put all of the law stuff on the bed, and I would sit there, and I would work all day. I would put earplugs in my ear, and I would just block the noise out and work and work and work. And I did some of my best work in special housing.
It's incredible that you had this determination and will and drive, and then it never let go.
Definitely. I mean, I had no choice. I mean, sometimes you put in positions that you don't even know your strength until you're in it.
Yeah.
And for me, I just didn't know that I had it in me. But, when I got out, when I left with a group of guys that I pledged that I was coming back to get. I mean, these are guys that were innocent. I knew it. There were some Scarcella victims. And Shabaka Shakur was one that we got out. Richard Rosario was a part of that team. And there was many more, man, that I just knew that I just couldn't get out and walk away from these guys. Nelson Cruz, we still fighting for this brother. I mean, here's a case where Scarcella framed this guy. There was a cop who witnessed the real murderer. The cop caught this guy with a gun in his hand, shooting, locked him up, threw him in jail, gave him to Scarcella. Gun, the murder weapon. Scarcella let this guy tell him he didn't do it, that the killer was Nelson Cruz.
But why would he do that?
One of the things I learned is that informants, right? Cops protect their informants. They protect the informants that commit murder. And then they have to blame it on somebody to close the case. And that happens a lot, right? In this case, this guy was informant for them. They didn't want to get him off the street. So what do? They substitute him for Nelson Cruz, despite the fact that a fellow officer says, listen, I know who I saw shooting. I witnessed this. I saw it with my own eyes. They let the guy go and locked up Nelson Cruz. He's still in prison today. His unfortunate is that we went through a hearing, we won, and you won't believe this. The judge caught dementia.
What?
The judge caught dementia, Shonda Simpson. And she resigned under dementia. She had dementia when she was hearing this case, and we still fighting. So, I mean, the criminal justice system is broken. We got to fix it, as you said, even to waive the statute of limitations to hold people accountable, to hold prosecutors accountable, change the 11th Amendment. I mean, everybody, look, if you can go after Donald Trump, right, then you can go after prosecutors and cops. You can't tell me that you can go after Trump today for things that you said he did as a president, but you can let Scarcella get away, you can let the prosecutors get away, and you want me to say that that's okay? It's not okay.
It's just incredible to me that they'd be willing.
Can you imagine being Zach Mulak doing this? Oh my God.
As a snitch, that they will go out
So annoying.
and convict an innocent person. I mean, what?
This,
how
not
does a
Zach, I'm
person
saying
get
this strat is so annoying.
jaded that they're willing and don't care about putting innocent people behind bars. I mean, is their idea that everybody's guilty of something, so it's okay? Like, what
This
is
is
what's
ridiculous.
the mindset that allows a cop to do something like that?
The way the system is designed, right? Cops get accolades based on arrests, prosecutors based
Wow.
on convictions, judges on based on how fast the case.
I'm gonna
moves
try
through the
like one
system.
more time.
So if you're gonna pat me on my back as a cop and say good job done,
And I'm probably gonna
there's
sign off and
nobody
get ready to play some
investigating to
basketball.
see whether or not you did a great job.
is so dumb.
Prosecutors are supposed to investigate any case.
Zia
that
True
cops
Gunny,
bring
yo.
before them. That's
I
what
haven't even tried
separation
once, and I want to give
So
this
it's
up
like a
already.
game, and they're just trying to score points. And if they can cheat to score points, they'll score points.
Like
by
what?
cheating.
Absolutely.
You
If there's political pressure,
dumb.
forget about it. Forget about it.
Sane resolve, yeah, 100%.
This is like the questions that you ask are so
What is he? He's like top 3 in world records or
they're
something?
rhetorical, but they're the same questions that I hear
Or top
from
5
people
in
that hear
world
these
records or
stories,
something?
and it's almost like your
Sorry,
defense mechanism.
I don't want
as
to
a
assume anything,
human
not
being
top 3
doesn't want
maybe.
to let you believe,
Right.
right, that could be, because you're taught as a kid, cops are here to serve and protect you. Prosecutors are here to get the bad guys. What's woven in here, and that
Okay,
we're
hit
not
someone.
really, we're addressing it without
Day 2 no
addressing it,
internet, sorry man.
is that it's the racism that runs rampant in our system.
Oh, okay, I
Is
understand.
that it is
understand now.
is a very big part of this. A lot of white cops, whether subconsciously or consciously, think
Oof.
the black guy or the brown guy, the Latin guy did it. There is a huge. That's one. It's a messy stew. There's one part of
So
it.
my theory was I
one
wanted to
part of
kill
it,
that
choose
guard and then
what
kill the
you
other
just
2
said.
guards just to get a
If
quick
you
completion,
do
maybe a
not
sub of
see
30 or
the
something.
human cost
That'd be amazing.
that a prosecution of a human being leaves in its wake. And these prosecutors
No
get
internet is oof,
accolades
yeah.
for convictions, and it is a game. It's about wins and losses. For cops, it's about arrests, and yes, it taps into something primal that, winning is good, losing is bad. And it's a messy stew. And I used to think that sometimes cops were out to frame people. I don't think it's always that. I think that they think that their hunch is better than evidence, and they make those the ends justify the means. But you can't ignore any one of these factors. Look, you and I had a discussion, not on the podcast, about
Yo, that's
right?
true, man. That's you, buddy.
And,
That's you, homie.
I think
That's you, my man.
we all agree as human beings that it's
you, dude.
insane. It's not, the word doesn't give it justice. It's horrific. It's, every adjective that you can pull, it's a nightmare for her. And you asked me a question that
God.
I think you asked it, you articulated it on the podcast, and you and I were texting about it, which is that, this happens here. And yes, she's getting attention because she's in Russia. It's a political thing. It's in
This is
vogue,
so dumb.
and I
I'm gonna
want
do
her
this
to
just
get
one more
out,
time.
of
Like
course,
only, I'm
more
gonna try
than
this just
anyone.
once one more
But
time.
there are way worse situations here in this country.
Every
I,
day.
I sent you some of these cases. So I went down.
insane.
I went down a bit of a rabbit hole, and I said, there's got to be some. There has to be someone that has studied the disparity between the sentences that black men and women get for marijuana possession or marijuana convictions versus white people. And Derek found a study that I have with me, and when I read it, I kept on saying, this is unbelievable. It was commissioned by the ACLU from 2010 to 2018. And they examined this from every angle. They took the crystal ball and they turned it around, and then they turned it over, and then they looked at the inside of it. They looked at it from every angle, okay? Did the decriminalization of marijuana reduce the number of arrests overall? Yes, slightly. Did it reduce the ratio
I'll just wait at the boat for a
of
completion.
arrests when you look at black people that are
Wow,
arrested
terrible.
for marijuana possession?
Maybe.
opposed to
I might
white
do that.
people?
I might
And
not.
the resounding answer is no. If you are a black person in this country and you are caught possessing marijuana, you are 3.5 times more likely to A, get arrested,
Wow.
and B, get a disproportionate sentence.
Yeah, Dick.
If
The Under
anybody's
Armours are
interested in
$50 at fucking
it's called
Sport Check.
ACLU
If you want to check them out, I don't know if they're still on sale or not. They're just like running
Racially
shoes.
targeted arrests in the era of marijuana reform.
But you can tell they're
It will
$90
blow your
shoes.
fucking
You can tell
mind.
by the quality.
It is.
The
it
rubber
went-
is really
it went
strong on the
down
bottom,
to
too,
a level of
which I like.
granularity that you would expect from a rigorous research study. They said, okay, well, do white people possess weed more than black people, or do black people?
Okay, this is. I'm just gonna wait at the
You would
boat.
think that if
Should I
black
just
folks
fucking
possessed
No, I
more
gotta-
marijuana, they
gotta
would
at
get
least
arrested
maybe
at a higher rate? The answer is no.
gamble
White
a little
people.
bit?
You know, and you cannot look at these
Wow.
statistics and not be outraged and say, okay, we have a problem here in this country. Our criminal justice system is infected by racism. It doesn't just stay in one segment of society. They looked at the arrest rate, right? The black-white ratio in Table 6 of this report from 2010 to 2018.
Wow.
The arrest per 100,000 may go down, but black people get arrested in this country for marijuana possession in the same scenario 3.6 times more than white people. They broke it down state by state. I brought it because I wanted to leave it with you. And, you know, they went down to states with the highest black arrest rates for marijuana possession, states with the largest increases in racial disparities. I mean, a lot of this shit is happening in the South. It's happening to black people. They're being brutalized by our criminal justice system. And unless people are willing to wake up to that fact, I mean, we're in 2022 where marijuana is legal in many states, decriminalized in many others. And so getting back to DeSantis, I'm not beating up on him. If you really cared about removing a state attorney and you want to, you know, do something right, you know, decriminalize it in the entire state. How many people, you know, wow, imagine this. This is who this guy is. And I'm just calling it like I see him. I've met him. I've met with him. He is the jerk at work. You know, everybody has that person that is just an asshole at work and is always telling on people and causing a fucking problem and looking to be difficult. That's who this guy is. He has a bad temperament. He doesn't have patience. I mean, I was there meeting with him as a favor to one of his biggest donors. He had no patience with me. And why was I there? I was there because I wanted him to simply give me a clemency hearing. I wasn't asking for anything. I wasn't saying, please commute the sentence of this innocent man, James Daly, who I know is innocent. I was just there to say, just hold the hearing and let me show you, as Derek said, the merits. Let me just show you the merits of the case.
Should have worked.
The only person that would meet with me on the clemency board and hear me out is a woman that's running for governor in Florida named Nikki Fried. She's the fucking commissioner of agriculture. She didn't need to meet with me. She met with me for 3.5 hours with her general counsel, with other members of her clemency team. I'm supporting her because I'm, you know, something that I'm interested in, she paid attention to. And she said, there's a problem here. We have to hear people out. This is before she had intentions to run for governor. And now, you know, she's neck and neck with Charlie Crist in Florida. People want to make change happen. You know, take a look at her. She's an interesting alternative. She was a public defender. I think she then became a prosecutor. She gets it from all angles. She's a commissioner of agriculture, and she's not a politician. The thing that bothers me is that when you look at racial disparities.
Get some sleep. Yo, thanks, Nomley. Yo, thanks for being here, man. I'm about to sign off anyways to play some ball. Thanks for being here, dude.
In this country,
Have a good night, man.
County,
Thanks for being here late at night.
The arrest rate
Appreciate
for
it.
black people caught possessing marijuana, you're 97 times more likely to get arrested.
Right in the
for
fucking
black
face.
Possessing marijuana. The face that you just made is what happened in my
Peace.
fucking heart when I read it.
Yeah, it's
You know,
turned into a really nice
in
day.
Illinois, people wonder that, like it's like a popular thing for white people to say is like when they're in social circles where they don't think anyone's listening, fucking black people are killing each other in Chicago, right? Well, in
No, survive. Like
Kaysville
what?
County,
Like what?
Illinois,
It's so stupid.
you're 43 times more likely to be arrested if you're black and caught with weed than if you're white. We have a broken system. And if people aren't willing to step up and recognize that, this report confirmed what I already thought and knew. But if people aren't willing to recognize and
Fuck
say,
off.
well, how do we go about fixing it?
Like, fuck you.
The legislatures pass laws that are made by people and are conjured up by people. They get in a room and they sit there with a pen and paper and they come up with a law. And then we try to get them passed. You're absolutely right. There should be no statute of limitations for a cop like Louis Scarcella, who has fucking ruined the lives of a generation of people.
What?
And I would like to just add that.
Maybe I should
those
just do
stats
old strat, honestly, if I
apply.
just want to get like any PB at all.
Go to the almanac. Those stats apply to all crimes around the board. That black people were being arrested. And in some instances, we look in the almanac, white people were being arrested more but convicted less of the same crimes. So it's just systemic. It's systemic racism. As you said, it's tribal.
Oh,
right?
the
People
grenade.
tend to go
The
with their
grenade.
tribe more than others, right? And then
The grenade.
if you're poor, that plays another role. Whether
It's
you're
so
white or
over.
black, right? If you're poor, you can't get the money to defend yourself. So you're relying on who? A public defender or somebody who a judge has to sign off on their money to get paid, right? So you're still stuck. I had an 18B lawyer, which is a county lawyer, one time come to me on a
This
motion
is a
that
fun
I made
level.
pro se and say the judge told me that he's going to deny your motion no matter what we do. She was scared to death. He was signing her voucher. She was scared.
What?
What did I do?
It's so
Went
that
right
guy.
in the
That
court
guy
and said,
friggin'
"Judge,
he psyched
this
me
lawyer
out.
just told me that you're going to deny the motion.
He
no matter
psyched me
what we
out,
do."
man.
And she says, "I never said that, Judge." And I says, "Well, she's a liar, and that's the
Did you
reason
see
why I'm
that?
on my case." I'm
She was on
asking
the
that
other
she
side.
There's a conflict.
He totally
But
psyched me
She
out.
was so afraid. She was so scared that this judge had already told her what the disposition. She didn't know what to do. And this happens every day. And if you're poor,
Maybe I
you
should
don't
have
have
auto aim off,
And
honestly.
there's also racial disparity that's clearly written in the law when it comes to the difference between the way they recognize crack cocaine versus regular cocaine. There's a far greater sentence for crack cocaine.
Yes.
But if you talk to an
What?
actual person
What is
who
this?
understands the effects
What
of
was
the drug,
that?
like Dr.
Did you
Carl
see
Hart,
that?
he will tell you it is exactly the same drug. It's the same drug, but the conviction
So random.
if you get convicted for crack cocaine, like you would probably know this better than I.
yes.
It's far
Yes.
greater sentence, far more likely he can be convicted, far greater sentence, and it directly impacts impoverished communities.
And thank you, Bill Clinton and Joe Biden,
Yeah.
and a whole
Wow,
score
that was
of other
friggin' really
Democrats
close.
That
The
wait-
94 crime bill.
Yeah, the 94 crime bill was a fucking disaster. So that's why it enrages me.
Should work. What?
Well, it doesn't enrage me. Let's say it frustrates me to
It
know.
enrages
and-
me. It
yeah.
enrages me.
You know, because
You should be enraged.
I'm enraged.
Yeah.
You
So
should
dumb.
be
Very
enraged.
enraged.
Yeah, I
Very
don't.
enraged.
We had this talk last night. I said, if I was a black man in this country, I don't know how he holds it together. But I was, you know, what ends up always blowing me away is what I think you touched on earlier, because it's like this. How do you find a silver lining? You know, I don't think there's any silver lining to a life that has been damaged the way Derek's life has been damaged. And as tough as he is, somewhere under there, he hurts in a way that we'll never understand. But I was watching these students. You got 5 college
Card actually helped me there.
who would never have got this opportunity. Just wouldn't have got this opportunity to sit there
not
if
gonna
they
work.
weren't part of Jay-Z's scholarship. And his mom,
What?
Gloria Carter, was just a wonderful woman, and this woman, Danya Diaz, and said, let's see what happens when we give people an opportunity. And I watched 5 college juniors that are going into their senior year of college, some of them shy and timid, some of them who were intimidated by the notion that they would be working on a legal case, start to realize, like, this guy Bruce Bryan, and if people that are interested should go to Free Bruce Bryan. There's a clemency petition for him. I can't talk too much about his innocence case, but He has been called by the press the poster child for clemency in New York. There's stunning evidence of his innocence. They quickly got to the main facts of the case and were able to start solving it. These are college juniors. And they said, he was accused of being a shooter in a murder in which he's alleged to have brought his girlfriend in a cab where he was exchanging a Halloween costume for his niece. And the first question from the shyest kid in this group said,
Okay, I'm gonna freaking just wait for them on the boat, I
bring
think.
their girlfriend to a pre-planned shootout
Right.
and exchange a Halloween costume in the meantime. And they started to find inconsistencies in the testimony of people that claimed they saw him, didn't see him. And, really, it was like a stunning reminder to me that if we just give people the opportunity. Derek was forced into the opportunity. I told him I did a day in jail. I was a fucking puddle. I was a mess. And I don't know how he was able to summon the strength, to survive, let alone have the discipline to plug. He was telling me about when he was in the hole, about how there was a guy in the cell next to him. It was a fascinating analogy he gave me. He said it's like social media. Is that there's some voice in the darkness that you'll never meet them, you'll never see them, but they can criticize
keep, like,
you.
I keep shooting them right in the head.
Call you names and say nasty shit about you, looking for a reaction. And they sometimes get it, and that emboldens them more. He said it was the same thing when I was in the hole. You'd have someone next to me yelling terrible shit. I'm gonna fuck your wife, I'm gonna do this to your daughter, and taunting you. And being able to distinguish between anger and the recognition or the realization I'll never be able to confront this person. It's just a voice out there that is sick in the head, obviously, and is trying to get a reaction out of me. And Derek was telling
Probably
me
do a
how it
secret
forced
agent
him
run and then
into
sign
patience.
off or something.
And it forced him to be able to develop the skill at drowning out the background noise. And because to me, it must be annoying because I'm always asking him questions like, how did you do it? It's the same thing you were getting at. How do you summon the strength to be able to overcome? And if people like him can overcome, people that were born into the worst circumstances, born into a poor background, a system built against him, if we just start changing that paradigm, don't we want everyone around us to succeed and have the same chance that we have? It's hard to not sound corny about it, but I always tell people that, I've heard criticisms of you, Joe, before, and I say to people, no fucking clue who this man is. You know how rare it is to come across a human being that wants other people to do well? We're almost hardwired to want to tear each other down because of our insecurities. You genuinely want to see people do well. And it's like, I was telling Derek that about you. It's like, he genuinely wants to see people do well. And it comes from the heart. And, if he's not an inspiring example of what we can all aspire to and overcome, and doesn't open some eyes to say, if I just give someone a chance, they can do it. Whatever the it is.
Well, people don't understand what that means. They think that wanting someone to do well and somehow or another takes away from you, but it doesn't. It boosts
Wow.
you. It helps you.
It's
The
just-
more
it's
people
just so
do well, the
amazing.
better you'll do. But that's a competitor's understanding of the nature of the circle that you surround yourself in. You should always be around people that are killing it, because then you want to kill it. You should always be around people that are kind and people that are generous, because you know that feeling you get when you go, God damn, what a fucking great guy. I want to be a great guy. It's good for you. It's good for everybody. The person that only wants to be the man and wants everything for themselves and wants to be selfish and cut everybody down, that's a lonely, sad fucking person. That's a terrible place to be. It's terrible for yourself.
Fuck off.
It's a selfish thing to be kind. It's a
Fucking
selfish
hell.
thing to be generous. It's great for you. It's great for everyone else too, though. It's like there's a selfishness in it because like I genuinely love the feeling when I can help people. I genuinely love the feeling of whether it's helping
A yet?
people express themselves on a podcast or
No
elevating
freaking A.
comedian's career,
Terrible run.
or just help someone out that I know needs some help. It's a great feeling.
But why is it so rare then?
Because they don't understand what it is. People have been taught that there's a scarcity. They've been taught this famine mentality. It's wrong. We're a community.
That's terrible.
We're a community as a country, and we're a community as a world. And if we don't look at it that way, we're always going to be stuck.
Okay,
in
I'll
this
play maybe like a few
lonely,
more minutes, then I'm going to sign off.
sad position where you think of the world as your enemy. The world's not your enemy. The world's
Thank you for
filled
being
with
here.
potential best friends.
That's right.
The world's filled with your brothers and sisters. The world's filled with people who, when they do great, it'll make you feel fantastic.
Yeah, and I don't look. I have to say that I think that it comes with security too. Like I know that times when I have fallen victim to like hoping someone doesn't do great, it's because of my own.
I hate this fucking shit.
Would
Yeah.
lead me there.
True.
And like Derek and I are like brothers, and it wasn't like it hasn't been like when I first met Derek, I was like, fucking guy seems angry. He seems angry.
How could he not be?
How could I not be, right?
How could he not be? 30 fucking years in jail for shit he didn't do. It's amazing how not angry he is. That's the true testament to your character, is that you've been able to overcome that and become this person who you are now.
Absolutely.
That's a lesson for everyone. And again, that's for all the people that if you can get a hold of this, if you're in prison and you're hearing this, you can be like Derek. Everyone can figure there's a path that you can be a better person. There's a path that you can be more educated, more understanding, more compassionate. There's a path for everybody to be a better person.
How did you get over the anger though? That's what I don't understand. Like how you not.
I never said I got over the anger. What I did was challenge the anger somewhere else.
Fueled it.
Yeah. I didn't get over the anger. I mean, I do what I do. My passion.
Can you imagine your hostage saver busts into the room?
You know, one of the things
and you think you're going to be
and I'm gonna say
saved,
we, and I'm talking about as black
and he
people,
shoots
right?
you
We
right in the
believe the
face.
system was designed the way that it is. That it didn't happen by happenstance, right? So when you know that, you work to change the system. I work to change the system so that my kids.
There's probably some cartoon about that somewhere.
And that we can together gel as human beings. If I don't do the work, what good is me criticizing me, right? If I be angry and upset and grab a gun and become some animal, that doesn't help the society. It doesn't help the criminal justice system. So again, I had to really, really think about it. Let me tell you, I'm the first person to tell you that I had fantasies of killing the
Fucking
cop.
hell, you
I had
fucking piece of
fantasies
shit.
killing the prosecutor. I went and spoke to mental health people and said, listen, I can't sleep at night. All I think about is killing these guys when I get out of here. Oh, you know what the social worker told me in Attica Correctional Facility? I looked at your record. And this is what guys like you do, right? And this is why till today, right, I got a trauma about speaking to mental health people.
Fucking hell, this
Because
fucking
is
guy,
somebody
man.
I went to say, Lo, I can't sleep at night. I have fantasies about killing Scott Sutton. You think I did? Fantasies, right? Had a whole list of people that I was going to kill. But it was a program that I went to when I was in prison called Challenge to Change. I went to the program solely for the purpose to see if they can change that in my mind. And they did. And you know how they did
Oh my
it?
god, he survived.
They had me put
He
the people
actually
that I love
survived.
on
I shot him
Facebook.
right in the arm.
They
I thought I
said,
shot him
put
right in
down
the face
people
again.
That you love up there. Think about how it would affect them.
What?
What
Like,
would
fuck
happen?
you,
It
piece of
these
shit.
years. And I had a daughter that's 30 years old now. And I was telling her for 21 years I was coming home. Every year I'm thinking I'm coming home. I'm filing these motions, they're great motions. It's impossible for the judge to deny it, right? And at some point she said, "You's a liar. You've been telling me for 21 years you're coming home. That you are a liar. How do you deal with that? Your child."
What was it like the day you got out?
You know, it was the most rewarding experience ever. It was, you know,
What's the first thing you did?
there was bells. I tell you, psychologically, there was bells ringing. It was a church bells that used to ring in Auburn Correctional Facility. And I used to say, well, you know what? When the bells ring, I'm gonna pray. And hopefully, there's a God out there, he'll hear my prayer, right? That was my spiritual analysis. And the first thing I did when I went out was found that church and went over there and said a prayer. My wife picked me up. We went down to see my kids in Albany on the way down to the city. had dinner with my son, who I haven't had dinner with in 21 years, and my other son came to visit me, and I just sat there and had the first. We went to seafood joint. What's the name of it? I forget it. It's a popular one. We went there and had a seafood dinner, and you know, I tell you, there's a video of me getting out, and I'm moving so fast, I almost got hit by a fucking car coming across the street. But even that was a blessing, to be able to almost get hit by a car. And just to spend time with my wife and my kids, I mean, it was the most rewarding experience ever. And you know, from that moment, like I said, I knew what I wanted to do. I just went and had, look, just the fact that I could stop in Albany and rekindle with my son, and just have a moment with my kids, man, that was the most rewarding experience ever for me. It was everything.
What's the bottleneck, Josh, in terms of resources to elevate this, to get more
Like this fucking
people
guard.
out, to get
That
more
guard is just
funds
fucks
to
me,
do-
fucks my
what
mind.
can we do where we can amplify this, get more people involved?
Yeah, well, I think one big step is I always thank you, and I don't think that there should be a limit to my gratitude. Being on this podcast is the best example.
That was like perfect.
Because I don't think we would have gotten
Not
to
perfect, but like
exonerations
it was
in
like
Kansas
what I wanted
without
to
the
do.
attention. And I think we need to keep the drumbeat going.
Please.
So I'm forever and
Please.
continually grateful to you for giving me a platform.
Yes.
But I think that in
It's a
addition to
miracle.
that, more people need to understand that they can help make the change happen. So we can't announce the name. We have been sworn to secrecy, but Derek and I are on the precipice of starting a very major legal justice center at a major law school together, where I'll be the executive director and he'll be the deputy director. And it was funded by someone who had this experience where they were wrongfully accused of a crime and had the resources to fight it and has now funded it. And we need, donations always help, because the more resources you have, the more attorneys you can hire. But it needs the...
I'm gonna try like
public
one more run,
awareness,
see if I can get below
and it
38, and then I
needs
think I'm gonna
to,
sign off.
Keep the drumbeat of pressure going, because we know that works. Derek mentioned the Daily News article that got the parole board's attention. Getting these stories out there work. There are guys that we have talked about, and we might as well do it because we're here, okay? And we're here to try to get the word out. There are stories of cases that are out there now. You said this can't be true, and then I sent you the Joe Schilling case, right? Where Joe Schilling is serving life in prison, right, after being convicted of having 1.5 ounces of weed and had his appeal denied. And you wrote to me, is this true? And then I sent you the opinion. And, Joe Schilling is like an example. This happened in Mississippi. This is what happens to black men in the
Somebody here can't believe we're about to play
Joe
basketball.
Schilling
Yeah.
is an example
There was like
of
a
case
break in the
where
clouds and it was
if
sunny.
enough
Now it's
people
cloudy again.
Right to the clemency board,
I don't know,
right to
man.
the
I need to
governor,
go outside and
somebody will pay attention
run around a
to
bit.
something
I want
like
to try my new shoes and
that.
shit.
And here's a guy where
It'll be good.
they look at,
Be good just to
things that
walk
he has
around
done
and
in
shit
the past.
outside,
And they say, well, it wasn't just this marijuana conviction.
So glad I
he was
shot that
also
guy at the
involved
very
in
end.
an armed
Blowing
robbery,
50 kilometers per hour. Holy
right?
shit.
Well, he wasn't involved.
Well,
in
you
an
might
armed
see me
robbery. When you say involved,
try to
you
fight
picture,
a
stick 'em
hurricane or
up.
something.
Here's a gun
I
or
might
a
s- I'll
knife.
probably stream it. It's not
there
gonna
are
work.
different levels of involvement, and people make mistakes. So you don't use those past mistakes as a way to shoehorn them in to throwing their life away, right? So I think
Especially for something so fucking innocuous.
it
It should be legal anyway.
well, think about it this way. If you really want to do something to change the rate of deaths in this country, the rate of violence in this country, and you really are not a hypocrite, you'll ban alcohol. All right? Because alcohol causes a lot more accidental deaths because of drunk
Right in the
driving.
fucking head.
There's not a lot of people that are sitting there smoking weed, getting in their car and blowing up another car in a family. There's, the biggest victims of marijuana smoking are fucking potato chips and chocolate. I mean, it's like, what the fuck are we talking about here? So here you're throwing away a life and saying, oh, well, this is because of what you did before. Joe Schilling's case should be advertised. There should be letters flowing in by the hundreds of thousands. So the bottleneck is, I think, and maybe I sound a little bit arrogant in saying this, but you'll correct me and be my reality check, both of you. The bottleneck is not having the fucking balls to stand up and say, I am going to speak truth to power. And I am going to tell you this is not okay. And I've had my life threatened. I have had my families threatened because I will speak truth to power. And I wear it like a badge of honor. And you know, Derek told these students, because they said, well, what if we get emotional? He said, if this business is not for the faint of heart. You can get emotional and you can be sympathetic, but it just takes more caring and more doing. So the more people that can write the clemency boards, the more people that can say, I'm not going to vote in a tribal way, the more people that say, you know what, I can do better as a leader by running for office, do it. We all feel like it's for someone else, you know,
What?
but like this happened to you, right? Did you ever think you would reach this many people? I don't know if you did or not.
No,
All right.
no. This is accident.
All right. Well, purely accidental, but there was a point in which you, me, Derek, we have all said to ourselves, how did this happen to me?
Right.
Right? And I have come to the realization, well, if not me, then who? If
Wow,
not
that was
now,
like
then
perfect.
when?
That was like
It
perfect.
happened to me. Now I'm going to use my voice to try to empower others.
Not perfect, but like
And, you know, I
better.
think that we get caught up in mediocrity, and I think that we settle for mediocrity
should
as
have
human
worked.
beings, right? That's what sort of like keeps the classes in check.
should have worked.
You know, you don't have to be great or powerful or omniscient to make change happen. You just have to break from what's expected. You know, like I broke from some of my parents' expectations. And as a result of that, they evolved. You know, sometimes you're afraid of the backlash. You know, I remember like there were certain things about marrying within your religious faith. And I remember the first time I dated a Cuban girl, my mom had a reaction and said, you know, aren't you going to marry someone that's Jewish? And I said, I abandoned organized religion when I was 13. It's the most hypocritical thing.
What? That
imaginable.
was so stupid.
And I
How
remember
like
going
what?
To her,
Did you see that?
to my girlfriend's house in college, and they were roasting a pig. And I remember my mom, you remember like this Jewish lady from Long Island. Oh my God, there's a pig in the ground. What kind of people do this? And I said,
People want delicious food.
I said, let me ask you a question. She's like, are you gonna get married to someone that? I said,
Oh my God.
I'm more Catholic than I am Jewish at this point, and my credit to my mom,
Wow.
because what she did was she evolved. She said, you know, you're right. I haven't been to temple in 30 years.
Wow.
I don't know even why I think this, other than that this is how I was raised. And I watched her evolve to the point where when I finally got married to my wife, the fact that she was Christian,
very
and
good.
that a judge married
That was
us
very good.
in a non-denominational ceremony that was more human than it was religious, it wasn't even an issue. So if we're willing to like break from what's
Wow.
expected of us and the norm,
Can you believe
you
that?
know, and I had a dad, my dad recently passed, you know, that he was a complicated dude, but I, you know, like we draw off of things that happened to us. I remember in college, I was home for Thanksgiving, and my mom sent my dad off to Home Depot to get light bulbs because the light bulbs in the living room burned out. And he comes back from Home Depot with these two young black guys that were selling these they were like keyboards with a flip-up screen that could connect to the internet at the time. It was like he felt bad for them because he's like, these guys were out here in the fucking Florida heat in November, and he's like, they had nowhere to go for Thanksgiving. And it was like, my mom was like, what the fuck are you doing? You just take home 2 strangers? And he's like, they need food for Thanksgiving. They need to be here. It's human
Fuck you.
compassion. This is part of who we are as human beings. And it was nuts. It was like a fucking Seinfeld episode. But I was like, wow, this fucking guy, who does that? I mean, what he does after is he goes and drives them home and comes back 2 hours later blazing high, and he's like, I smoke something called the cryptos with them. You know?
Yeah, a nice time.
He could have got arrested.
Yeah, that's where my mom's like, what kind of an asshole does that? But it was like, you know, I think that we evolve, and then we teach our parents, and our parents evolve. It's like you have to not be afraid to do things that are outside of what's expected or the norm, and look outside of how you were raised.
Yeah. It's there's moments in your life, right, where you realize that maybe the path that you're on is not the best path. Maybe you should change a little bit of it. Maybe you should recognize that there's some information that you're getting from other people. Alter your case, alter your course.
And be open. I mean, the main thing is to be open. Don't have a closed mind where you can't be willing to accept the change.
Yeah.
And, you know, as Josh was saying, be involved. There's so many of these cases running around in every state. Some states don't have what they call actual innocence provisions, like St. Louis, right? The judge in St. Louis found the guy Christopher Dunn innocent. But because St. Louis doesn't have an actual innocent statute, he left him in jail. People should be outraged about stuff like that.
Explain that. Like, how does that work?
Name the case, because
Christopher Dunn is his name. It's in St. Louis. And in this particular case, the judge heard the evidence, found the guy innocent, put in his opinion, and said this guy is innocent. However, because St. Louis doesn't have a statute that permits me to let innocent people go, he stays in jail.
How is that possible?
And this is
Come
the
on,
problem,
man.
right? This is the problem with our criminal justice system. They have procedural bars. They have laws. And laws sometimes limit the power of judges. This is why it's so important to have legislators, right? To enact laws that says innocence is the most fundamental to our criminal justice system. Every state right now should pass laws that says no innocent person should stay in jail no matter what.
Like what?
Right? They don't have that. The Supreme Court in Reed Troy Davis in 2008, 2009 made that decision. That's how I was able to go to the appellate division and get that decision in 2014. That said in New York, innocent people case have to be heard. Every state should have laws like this, right? When they don't have laws like this, it gives an exception to judges. Excuse to say, I'm not gonna let them go because there's no statute that says that innocent people have to be let go.
Is it possible for the judge to let them go anyway, even without the statute?
I would say yes. I would say that judges have discretion, right? You have discretion. Do it and let some court reverse you. But have the courage to say, how would you say a guy is innocent?
Right.
As a human being, forget the judge fact, right? And you leave him in jail, right? And this doesn't just happen in St. Louis. It happens everywhere.
it happened in the Supreme Court recently.
Yes.
I mean, this is not a political thing.
Right.
I think Donald Trump, look, he granted clemency
Yo, that should've
to a man
worked.
that now works for me. He was a beautiful guy, Jawad Musa. I think that Donald Trump had the courage that President Obama, President Clinton, nobody had.
I agree.
I'm just gonna
That's
try
the
one
first
more
step
completion and wait at the
A
boat
lot of our
again.
friends and clients have gotten
Just one
out.
more.
I agree.
Then
But
play
he also
basketball.
appointed a bunch of fucking nutjob Supreme Court justices who recently published an opinion that said innocence doesn't matter. They literally wrote the words, innocence doesn't
What
matter.
Supreme Court judges did that? Which ones?
I will give it to you in a minute.
All the ones that you would expect. It was Kavanaugh. It was...
He wrote the opinion.
Kavanaugh wrote the opinion.
Innocence does not matter.
Yes.
How can someone say innocence doesn't
Because
matter?
what
The
they-
whole idea behind the legal system is to find out who is guilty of a crime
How?
and convict them.
And I don't care, by the way, about that public circus about Kavanaugh's past. That's not what I'm glomming onto. I'm looking at this opinion. He was basically saying that if you do, the spirit of the opinion, and Derek will pull it up, was that if you cannot overcome the procedural bars, so in other words, if you are time barred to file your claim, that we cannot let innocence get in the way of the rules of criminal
Can
procedure.
you explain time barred?
So time barred means it's the same thing as the statute of limitations. So you have to raise claims of newly discovered evidence within a certain period of time in most states.
I think it's
okay,
grenade.
in most federal jurisdictions. And if you are in possession or should have been in possession of this newly discovered evidence and you don't file it in a timely manner and raise it, it's deemed waived. So what the opinion was basically saying was that we cannot let innocence or the fact that someone may be innocent trump these procedural hurdles. So in other words, rules exist for a reason. And if we don't follow those rules, just because somebody might be innocent and just because there's compelling evidence of their innocence does not mean that we are going to let that get in the way of these procedural rules. This isn't made up. People can go and look at the opinion. Kavanaugh wrote the opinion. It was split along party lines.
Yeah, Thomas and a few other judges was involved. It's Shin versus Ramirez was the case. It was a guy on Arizona death row. And, you got to look at 28 U.S.C. 2254 is the habeas corpus statute in the feds if you're a state prisoner coming to the feds asking for relief. And they've been watering that down for years, basically saying that states should be the one to decide these things, that you shouldn't be able to come to the federal court to get relief.
And let's just explain for the listeners what habeas corpus relief is. Habeas corpus means, I think the Latin translation is possession of the body, okay? So that is your last ditch effort to try to get relief from a federal court, saying that you are possessing my body in a way that violates my rights. You have my corpus, right? So when you raise a habeas or a habe, it's often referred to petition, you're basically throwing everything against the wall and saying, please look at the merits of the case. I may be time barred, I may have violated a procedural deadline, but if you just look at the evidence, I'm innocent. And what the Supreme Court decision says is your innocence is not part of this equation. Why the fuck not? Think about everything we waste resources on, time, energy, money.
Do they have to do they have to give a reason for why innocence doesn't matter? Like when they
Really?
say
The
something
grenade
like
again?
innocence doesn't
Really?
matter,
Really?
Don't they have to have a justification for
It's
that
so dumb.
distinction?
No, and I just want to say that Clarence Thomas actually wrote the decision. Kavanaugh was a part of it. But what they basically was ruling on in this case, the Ninth Circuit had reversed the case, and they had gave a hearing on ineffective assistive counsel claim. And they found that the lawyer was ineffective because he didn't present the evidence of innocence. So what they did was reverse it and said innocence doesn't matter. Now in the feds, they got something called a gateway claim, right? So your innocence alone, they saying, is not a freestanding actual innocence claim. You have to have some other constitutional violation. In that case, the lawyers chose ineffective assistance of counsel because they said this evidence always was available, that the lawyer should have got it and presented it. The courts reversed it and said, no, we don't care about his innocence, and you should stop holding hearings on ineffective assistance of counsel claims, whether it's relates to innocence or not. And I'll give you the citation, but it's just
people should not take our word for it.
Right.
Read the decision. It's if we read the entire decision, we'd be here to the end of the podcast because there's a lot of procedural nonsense built into it. But they literally say the words that the innocence is not a consideration. It's not something we should be considering because it should have been raised. And innocence doesn't matter in this context. And they said it not just once in a bunch of different ways. So the way people should fact check and vet is to read the Supreme Court decision. And we'll give you the citation. Just go read it.
And it's 20-1009. It was decided 5/23/22. It was a 6-3 opinion by Thomas, and Judges Sotomayor and Breyer and Kagan filed the dissenting opinion that they would reverse the case and release this guy. And the judges that was involved was Clarence Thomas, Roberts, Alito was a part, and Kavanaugh was a part of the majority. And it's just, these cases, look, it's not just innocence, Clemency is going to be a big part of our clinic. I don't know if you ever heard of the Pamela Smart case out of New Hampshire.
Should have worked.
Right? Pamela Smart has been in prison over 30 years. A remarkable young woman, white woman that taught a lot of people in Bedford Hills Correctional Facility in New York how to get out and run organizations. She have all kind of degrees, PhD, kind of like Bruce Bryant, but a female version of it. She got life from New Hampshire. New Hampshire sends her to New York to do her time. She's been in New York prisons over 30 years. She can't get clemency, and she see New York prisoners walking out every day that don't have her credentials because she's in New York. The New York governor doesn't have control over her. New Hampshire is like DeSantis, the governor there. He waives clemency off. Don't hold no clemency hearings.
What was her case? Was she had someone kill her husband?
That was the allegation. And the guys that committed the murder are home. Those guys been home now for years and years. That's exactly the case. She was working in a school. She was having sex with a student. The student becomes obsessed and kills her husband. And she swears she never told him to do it. But despite if she did or not, she's been in prison over 30-some years. Remarkable young lady, has every degree you can think of. Runs the prison. The superintendent gave her letters saying that she should get out on clemency. Why isn't she out? Like, it's things like this that keep me up at night. Because, look, when you have redeemed yourself, whether you're guilty or not, when you can serve society best by being out.
Okay, please, give me
running
downstairs, yeah.
programs and
Thank
helping
you, Mom.
people,
Appreciate it.
I think you should be here.
Well, we're supposed to be not just punishing people in prison. We're supposed to be rehabilitating people. This is the whole idea behind
Brutal.
prison, right?
Absolutely.
It's not, I mean, if someone goes to jail for 10 years, it's not just a punishment for a crime. It's supposed to be,
This level is
let's
the
figure
worst.
out a way to make you a productive part of society.
Absolutely.
But the environments that you're describing and the environments that everybody that I've ever talked to that's been incarcerated describe are nothing like that.
No. And if you can't, Larry Hoover, 50 years in prison, right? If you can't become a better person after 50 years, so something terribly wrong with the system, right? It's not the person, but a lot of times it be hype. It don't be truth. In my case, they told the judge that I had a large-scale drug
should've worked.
organization that terrorized my community. The first thing I did when I sat down with the prosecutor, I said, if you can prove to me that I had this,
It's moot
I will
anyways.
throw
It's
my
all
claim.
just moot.
I was home 8 months. I can tell you everything I did in those 8 months. What it is, no, we lied. You lied to judges. Now you admit it. But this what kept me in jail for 21 years. You telling a judge in ex parte conversations that this guy's a terrible guy. You can't let him out. Imagine harm. Judge believes the hype. They don't believe the prosecutor's lying to them. But that's another whole topic, how we need to hold prosecutors accountable.
Just whatever.
Right? They
Honestly,
get away with
whatever.
everything. They get away with.
So dumb.
There's immunity for prosecutors and judges. Yet and still you want to hold Donald Trump accountable. Again, I'm back at why not hold prosecutors and judges accountable?
Yeah, they have something called qualified immunity. And qualified immunity means that in most situations, they're not going to be held accountable. And you've asked this question before, and it is probably the most important question to ask. Because the way that we deter people from engaging in this type of behavior, I mean, the reason why people don't think twice about whether it's cheating on their taxes, selling cocaine, whatever is violative of the law, is the fear of going to jail. Okay? The fear of going to jail is a real fear. It should be a real fear. You know, Derek and I were talking about it. We were talking about different
Mom.
prisons in the state of New York. It's an awful fucking place.
Yes.
Who the fuck wants to be in jail? It depresses us when we have to go. It's awful. All right? Now, if prosecutors know that they're not going to be
Okay, I've been playing half an hour and I still haven't gotten one completion.
you know, it makes it a lot more difficult for accountability to follow. And, you know, how do we change qualified immunity? We get new people in the fucking legislature.
Right.
I'm not on some crusade against Ron
Please,
DeSantis.
thank
I'm
God.
not. But
That was a
the reason
gift.
why I
Hopefully
always
this
come back
lands,
to him
honestly.
is
I don't want to play this
because
anymore.
he very well could be, who the fuck knows what's going to happen with Donald Trump? He very well could be the next
What?
choice for
Like
president.
what?
He's very popular.
So dumb.
Here's a guy that vetoed a bill for contraception. It was a bipartisan bill. You can't get Democrats and Republicans in Florida to agree on the fucking weather.
Anything.
All right? So he vetoes a bill that would increase contraception. It would have provided $2 million to low-income women to gain IUDs, more access to contraception. So you would think that the president of the Senate, who's a Republican, and championed this bill, was blown away, shocked
insane.
that it was vetoed. And here's a quote from him, okay? I
that's a
thought that
scam.
would solve a lot of
That's a
abortion
scam.
issues, probably eliminate thousands of abortions.
I can't believe that actually
And then he
happened.
goes on and he blames himself for not convincing DeSantis.
What was DeSantis' reasoning behind?
His reasoning behind it
Please.
is that he received a
Please.
letter from, I
Please.
think, the Catholic bishops.
Is that-
And the Catholic bishops told
Wow,
him
it's amazing.
that
It's amazing.
these
Thanks, Dick. Thanks,
IUDs
Anomaly.
prevent a fetus from grabbing onto the uterine wall, and that was a form
amazing.
of abortion in and of itself, and that you can't. I mean, so now he's become a doctor and he's against contraception. So you're now invading, the personal decisions of a woman, of how she wants to go about contraception. Whether you are stymieing semen from entering a woman by putting a fucking raincoat on your dick, or you are putting a device in a woman to prevent sperm from getting into the uterine wall, I say, what's the fucking difference? Maybe I've had too many whiskeys. Maybe I'll catch some shit for that.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any
It
sense.
doesn't make any sense.
So I am not a Democrat or it just doesn't make any sense.
So this is a political decision based on the support of the Catholic Church.
Yeah, it's basically.
Which is arguably, if you want to go and talk about people that are guilty of something.
Yes.
I mean, that is a horrific history that the Catholic Church has.
Yeah, he got a letter. I think it's called the Florida Conference of Catholic Bishops. That's who he got a letter from. And they object to the use of long-acting contraception, particularly these what they call hormonal IUDs. And they say that they can prevent an embryo from implanting into a woman's uterus. So they deem them, they're called abortifacients. So, it's like we have to have the, I guess the ability to step outside of this tribal, primal box and say, you know what, I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, and say, I'm not going for that shit. Just like I'm not going for somebody that fought to keep DNA testing from seeing the light of day. Why? Why would Kamala Harris do that? And you want to know something? The campaign, wanted to, I caught a lot of shit. I think there was a senator that was promoting a clip of me being critical of her. I think it was Carpenter. What is his name? He has an eye patch. He's a very honorable guy.
Dan Crenshaw.
Dan Crenshaw.
Yeah.
Was promoting a clip of me being critical of her. And they wanted me to, like,
Walk it back.
would you reconsider and walk it back? And I said, why can't? Yeah, we had a conversation. And she won't walk anything back. She won't say anything. I mean, why can't you just say, look, I was trying to serve my community. I realize with the benefit of hindsight that it's an $11 test, the DNA test. Why not give access? These politics, a lot of politicians they're afraid of the political cost of admitting a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm so turned off by it, I
Like, it's
almost
so
want to
dumb.
run for office.
It's just so dumb.
And, I was asked, would you ever run for governor of New York? I said, I don't want my family ravaged and my, people looking into my past and making a mockery of me. I understand why people don't want to run for office, but at the same time, it kind of makes you feel like if the people that are in power are wielding power in a way that is so dangerous and so harmful to people, sometimes I think about it. I also don't want to give up my privacy, and I also don't want people judging me on every time I make, a decision that they disagree with. And I'm conflicted about it. I'm like encouraging people to get involved in a way that I even wouldn't get involved. politics is a motherfucker.
It is.
It's a dirty business.
You gotta constantly be asking people for money,
Yeah.
and then you end up, serving many masters. Yeah, it's a dirty business, and I just don't know. This is like it's a pretty simple equation to me when it comes to how problematic racism is in our criminal justice system. I don't get why people don't understand this equation, the following equation. You take an entire race of people, steal them from their homeland, enslave them, savage them, brutalize them, tell them they're free, they're really not free, build a system in which in our lifetime your parents, my parents, could not urinate in the same bathroom as people of color. And then an entire system is built upon, making, why don't you pick your...
Oh, come on, man. Like, I was gonna wait at the stupid boat.
I'm tired of the excuses, all that. That blows my fucking mind. It blows my mind.
It's nonsense.
Because there's a cycle of a family unit being broken, an entire civilization of people that have been stolen and brutalized in this country, and it just feels like the criminal justice system is going to be problematic because people are wielding power, and abusing it in the first place. And then you throw, the racial injustice into it, and it complicates it even more because we're just not willing as a society to say, like I hear from friends of mine. Look at the Jews. The Jews picked themselves.
That's like
not
perfect.
A fair analogy.
Nah, not at all.
People didn't look at me and say, "Oh, he must be a Jew." People think I'm Italian, Latin.
Right.
They think that I'm from, and didn't discriminate against me.
And they didn't create Jim Crow laws or vagrancy laws to stop you. I mean, look how many black people are killed from misdemeanor stops, right? I can get a ticket today for riding down the street and get a red light ticket sent to my house in New York City. So if I don't put my blinker on, why can't you send me that same ticket? Why you gotta pull me over, throw me out the car, search me, look for a gun, or look for whatever? It's designed that way, right? It's designed to create an image that black people are animals, like you said.
Wow, I shot him right in the, like, torso.
So police become afraid. We spoke to the last commissioner of New York City, right? And we had a conversation with him about how they was training cops in New York City.
Wow,
And they
it's
was
amazing.
giving cops was pop-ups. They was showing videos of a cop going down the steps and the staircase and get shot. These are young rookie cops. What do you think they're gonna do when they get into an exit? They're gonna pull their gun out. They're afraid. They've been indoctrinated to believe that this is what happens when you're walking down a staircase in a project. Somebody's gonna jump out and shoot you, right? You gotta change the way that you train people.
Okay, one more time, and then I'm gonna sign off. Thank you.
I'm working in a certain neighborhood that I'm gonna get killed. I'm gonna shoot first. That's just human nature. We indoctrinate people by institutions. And that's one of the biggest things that I always tell people that, why I believe in self-taught more so than institutions, because you become indoctrinated unless you got a strong mind. You got a strong mind. You're not so cut in how you think, right? And people come at you because of that. They don't like you. Josh, you're going on Joe Rogan's show. Are you crazy? What is wrong with you? You support Republicans because you can think for yourself. The institutions don't control you. A lot of people are indoctrinated and controlled by institutions. They don't have the balls to be their own men.
I don't always feel strong. I don't, because it's like, we try to get, like, as reform advocates, people try to censor us. We were trying to, we won't mention names, but on the way here, people were trying to censor us. People that you wouldn't expect it from. And, I think, like, make sure that you are explaining that you were there in your individual capacity, because they don't want, people are so afraid of cancel culture. They're afraid that you will be painted in a certain way because of who you associate with, or who you speak to, or who you try to, like, sit across a table from. It's like, let me say this. I'll say it publicly. This guy Joe Rogan is like a brother.
I just
You
want
know,
to punch this
we
wall.
don't
There's
even
a
know
wall
each
here
other
of
here because our
drywall,
families
and I
don't
just
know
want
each
to
other, and
like
we've
punch
talked about
right
it.
through it.
You know, like when I see him get dragged through the mud in the media, I've shed tears because he's a rare person. He roots for me and wants to see me do good, and we know each other in a way that is like, it's weird because it's at a distance, but I feel like a closeness to him, like a brotherhood, right? And that's because I understand the guy's heart. So I'm not gonna be, you know, told what to do or censored or told what to think or what to say, because, you know, I don't think that Derek, I honestly don't think it's strength. I think that it's more out of anger and being pissed off that people think in a way that represents a herd mentality, right? And it's like, I feel it
I hate this
sometimes
fucking
with
thing.
you, where sometimes people will judge him. They see a black man with a gold tooth who's big and has been in prison for 30 years, and they make assumptions. And I won't even tell you, it's happened since we've been associated with each
Absolutely.
other. And
You can't concern yourself with that.
I don't concern myself with
And I
it,
know
but
I know you don't much, but you bring it up. It's the nature of the business.
I hate
It's
this
part of
fucking
what
level.
happens when you get a lot of attention. There's no getting around it, you know. And I appreciate it. I appreciate what you are and who you are and what you're capable of doing and the love that you have for these people and the way that you put yourself out there. It's very, very rare. And that's why you and I are brothers. Because I know you. I know your heart. I know what you're doing, you know. And some people, they think, again, it goes along tribal lines. And it's also the fear of repercussions, the fear of criticism. They read too much. They're paying attention to too many idiots on social media. They're paying attention to too much nonsense. The greater good of what you're doing outweighs everything by a gigantic margin. And the fact that they can't see that is it just shows that even on the right side of important issues, you're gonna have people that are cowards.
Sure.
And that's the problem. You're not a coward, and that's what people don't like. They don't like when someone displays character and a point of focus that's beyond what they're capable of. It intimidates them, it bothers them, and they try to find weakness in it, and they try to critique it and criticize it and shut it down. And it's just a lack of understanding of just the true character of human beings and how important it is to have someone like yourself that dedicates a massive amount of their life to trying to help innocent people get out of jail, which should be the focus of our entire culture. Our entire culture should be, let's first of all make sure
No, it was
no
not.
one's
Who?
convicted
Who shot him?
that they're
Who?
unjustly accused of. No one, ever. And if they are, we need to get them out. Before we need to convict people of crimes, we need to get people out that are innocent. That's
Yes.
more important than anything. It's more important than anything. If we have a culture that not only allows people to be in prison, but creates
Oh, go
law
like.
and signs decisions that keep people in prison that they know are innocent. We have a terrible system.
Yes.
That should be
Nice,
number
yeah,
one.
nice,
These
nice,
are
nice,
innocent
nice.
people. We're supposed to be protecting innocent people. Those people, that should be our primary concern, and that's your primary concern. And that's an incredibly noble and brave and honorable and loving perspective. And for people to not see that and try to connect it with nonsense and try to just get you upset or just criticize you or try to tear you down, it's because they don't have what you do.
Right.
They don't have what you are. They're not you. And that bothers people. The purity of your intent bothers people.
Well, I appreciate you saying it. I mean, maybe I don't give myself enough flowers, and I'm not looking for flowers. I just feel like, you know, I'm not looking for anything but the feeling of, you know, I just know, I've said it before, that the feeling of restoring another human being, and when you walk someone out, there's just like, you know, I've done plenty of drugs in my life, and I've tried it all, and there's just nothing that can match it. There just
Agreed.
isn't, and it's like almost the feeling that you were describing of when you like.
It's probably my
surround
last
yourself with
run.
Good people and see them succeeding, and you get a thrill off of it. This is the ultimate thrill. I remember one time where Emmanuel Stewart, who trained
Yeah, it's my
Lennox
last run.
Lewis and Tommy Hearns and so many other champions, from the Kronk gym. He,
Please.
I mean, I was like a baby at the time,
Please.
now that I think about it. You remember Walter
Yeah, that's it. Thank you for
Swift?
watching.
He was in Detroit.
Everybody, I'm going to upload my 37, I
I
guess.
think I've ever told you this story. have
Like,
I?
this is so dumb.
All right, so
Like, I'm not
Walter
gonna keep doing
Swift
this.
served
Thank you for being here. I
40
appreciate it very
years.
much.
And
Okay.
I was with Barry Scheck at dinner. Though,
See who's
one
on.
of
Is
the
anybody
founders of the
online?
Innocence
Can I go
Project,
online
and
or
he was
anything?
telling me about this case in Detroit.
Cali.
And it was a rape case, and this black guy was accused of it, and they had stunning evidence of his innocence. And he's like, if I could just get the DA to pay attention, you know, when he won in Detroit. He said, I know Emmanuel Stewart, and I remember even as I flung the name out there, I was like, he's a boxing trainer, but he was pretty famous in Detroit. And Emmanuel was like you.
Okay, thanks for being here. You're the best.
Man, he was, and I walk in here every time.
Don't cry. Don't cry.
Just, you're gonna cry.
Yes, he is. That's him.
It's just part of the progress.
And Emmanuel, and I was like a young guy in Lennox Lewis's camp. He was the only guy that would, I was a cop there. I was there to look who was stealing from